Para você, amigo ligado e conectado na Acelera de P, muito bom dia. Já falamos ao vivo com imagens direto na beat para trazer para você as primeiras emoções, né, os primeiros momentos das 14, como se fala aqui no Rio de Janeiro, né? Às 14 horas de Daytona da World Race League. Quero primeiramente agradecer um muito bom dia para você. Perdão pelo atraso, a gente teve um pequeno probleminha com a internet, mas já estamos ao vivo em definitivo para vocês. Muito prazer, eu sou Pega Andrade e logo nós iremos acompanhar mais essa grande corrida, essa grande emoção para a galerinha que gosta do Endurance, né? Pessoal que gosta de passar o dia inteiro vendo corrida. Aliás, eu vou com vocês até o meio-dia, depois a gente vem com o resto da turma para trazer emoção, para trazer essa grande corrida para você. Aliás, se você ainda não é inscrito, por favor, se inscreva aqui no canal do Acelera GP e considere ser um membro do canal, né? Com um plano de membros, você tem vantagens exclusivas, emojis, conteúdos. Então, considere ser um membro e ainda você ajuda, né, o AGP a trazer mais corridas, né, trazer um cardápio maior de variedade de corridas para você. Beleza? Então é isso, meus amigos. Daytona Beach vai receber aí a quinta fase, né, da World Race League com essas 14 horas de Daytona, beleza? Vamos clarear para vocês como é que tá a situação do campeonato, né? Vamos elucidar para você como é que está a situação do campeonato, quem está em primeiro, quem está em segundo. Esse e beleza. Faz parte, meu povo, faz parte. Drogarias Pacheco querendo aparecer aqui na nossa transmissão. Pois bem, muito bem, meus amigos. É a World Race League, vocês sabem, né? A liga de Endurance, uma das mais conhecidas aí no mundo, faz um circuito pela América inteira, né? E aí temos nesse final de semana Daytona para vocês, né? Ainda tem muitas provas em junho, esse mês mesmo, né? Ainda tem Virgínia, depois teremos outras provas aí até dezembro, né? Tem muita temporada ainda para vocês. Estamos em junho com Daytona. E aí depois nós teremos Road Atlanta entre os dias 24 e 26 de julho. E aí teremos o Watkins International entre os dias 28 e 30 de agosto. E aí muita temporada para você que liga e se liga aqui com a gente. Você vê os pilotos já se preparando, né? Daqui a 8 minutinhos a corrida começa. E você, claro, vai ficar ligado e conectado aqui com a gente. E aí você vai se posicionando para você, amigo ligado e conectado conosco. Tive a aproximação dos carros e que beleza. Aí tava tão bom ser narração americana. Tava tão legalzinho. Achei que o pessoal ia mandar pra gente com som ambiente. Mas não mandaram, né? Mandaram aí com a narração, então bora. A gente muta aqui rapidão, depois vem bonitinho com um som de carro, né? Que eu vou tentar puxar aqui pra vocês já pra gente não ficar aqui só nas palavras, né? Muito obrigado por você que liga, se liga, é a World Racing League aqui no Acelera GP. São as 14 horas de Daytona para você. E aí a gente observando, né? Temos aí o carro de número 25 da Singler Racing. Depois temos aí os carros da AA Victor Racing, da Low Country Motorsports, da Kipling Racing, da Screaming Gold Racing, Afmath Sports, All Star Racing, BRD Motorsports, TCS Motorsports, AOA Racing, Riser Harris Ford, Open Throttle Racing, Aerofly Racing, Fast Track Racing, Skip Barber Racing School. Também temos carros aí representando a Wells House Motorsports, a Open Throttle Racing e a Stack Racing with Rape Scathlon. São aí os 20 carros, né? Na pista, correndo, para você, amigo ligado aqui no Acelera GP. Quando a gente vai para a reposição, né? Vai todo mundo ficar bonitinho em seu quadrado. Vai ficar ado a ado, cada um no seu quadrado. Pela informação que nos foi dada, né? O pessoal da Single Racing que vai largar aí em primeiro. O pessoal vai chegando, vai se conectando. Muito obrigado para você que liga e se liga aqui com a gente. Aí o pessoal vai se reposicionando para a gente começar a corrida a partir das 9 da manhã. Já ia falar, ué, já tem gente batida, mas não. Valeu demais a você que liga e se liga aqui com a gente. Você está no Acelera GP. Lembrando, hein? Meio-dia eu largo, depois vem uma outra turma e a gente vai com essa incrível corrida às 14 horas de Daytona. Valeu demais a você que está aqui com a gente no Acelera GP. O pessoal vai se reorganizando para a gente começar a largar. Eu vou deixar só o som em inglês de fundo, porque eu não tenho outro para pegar para vocês. Então a gente vai com a narração em inglês aqui bem baixinha. Só pra gente não ficar sem som de fundo, né? Eu pessoalmente do ar tá me dando agonia a transmissão sem som de fundo, mas a gente vai se reorganizando. E o pessoal vai se reposicionando pra gente começar. A essas 14 horas de Daytona. Valeu demais a você que liga e se liga aqui na Acelera GP. O pessoal vai se reposicionando, vai chegando, e aí está autorizado, senhoras e senhores, com 1 minuto antecipado, pelo jeito autorizado, vamos começar aí, mas ainda não, o pessoal está sendo guiado, né, pelo safety car. Falta um minutinho ainda, Naldo, falta um minutinho. O pessoal vai se alinhando e você, claro, vai ficar ligado aqui com a gente. O pessoal vai se reposicionando. e a gente vai chegar. E aí o pessoal vai se reorganizando. E a gente vem, é o World Race League para você, ao vivo e com imagens aqui no Acelera GP. Bandeira verde largada autorizada, começam as emoções das 14 horas de Daytona. Agora é no pedal, é no pneu, é na segurança e, claro, na tática, né, das equipes para tentar trazer aí esse grande título, né, mais um da World Race League. Valeu demais, ó, você já acompanha praticamente um pelotão separado do outro, né? O pessoal do primeiro pelotão já se distanciou legal e já temos bandeira amarela, hein? Temos bandeira amarela, tem carro parado na pista já na primeira curva. Aí tem que todo mundo ficar em filinha indiana, né? Tem que todo mundo se reorganizar, não pode ultrapassar. A não ser que seja inevitável, né? Que nem aquela que a gente acabou de ver, a ultrapassagem foi tão forte que até a câmera travou. Temos bandeira amarela, já um dos carros já está prejudicado. E aí, ó, a gente vai passeando junto com a rapaziada na World Race League. E aí você vê que os dois primeiros estão bem à frente, né? A galera da Screaming Go Racing tá em primeiro, Singer Racing em segundo, você vê ali terceiro carro 102 da TC Line Racing, em quarto o carro número 335. E aí já muda de novo, né? A Era Flight Racing, agora o pessoal da Era Flight Racing tá na frente, a Ada Racing em segundo. E na galera do GTO, a AI Victoria Racing tá em primeiro. É várias galerinhas, né? Correndo, e o pessoal da GTU, a Fortune 48 Competition, né? Tá aí na frente com o carro número 148. Faltando 13 horas e 54 minutos para o final da prova, temos aí um comecinho interessante, né? Com a AA Victor Racing. Já a bandeira verde, já tá tudo autorizado, já tá tudo normalizado, menos essa câmera, né? Essa câmera tá dando tilt, pessoal. Pessoal do sinal aí, ó. Tem que olhar essa câmera da saída do turno. E a galera da GP1, a Screaming God Racing tá aí na frente, da Ginger Racing em segundo, All Star Racing em terceiro. É a World Race League que você acompanha aqui no Acelera GP. Vamos juntos. Você que gosta do bom e velho Endurance, acompanha aqui com a gente. Muito obrigado para você que está ligado e conectado aqui com a gente. Sempre bom demais ter o carinho e a amizade da sua audiência. Temos comentaristas chegando aqui conosco. Fala comigo, Leandrinho. Um muito bom dia para você. World Race League, temos aí mais uma vez Daytona, muitos carros na pista e uma prova que promete muito, né? Muito bom dia, Leandro.
Bom dia, PH. Sim, uma corrida bem longa em questão de tempo. Hoje vai ser cansativo, né, para todo mundo. Bom dia aos telespectadores também. Sejam bem-vindos também. Já tô procurando aqui já os nomes, já coloquei na TV também a transmissão para ver se tá tudo certinho. Vamos seguir, né?
E é isso, vamos juntos. 13h52 agora. E é até bom para a gente explicar, né, para nossa audiência que está ligada aqui com a gente. A gente vê vários carros correndo, mas ao mesmo tempo você vê que vários grids vão se posicionando, né? É um grid só com várias categorias correndo, é isso, Leandro?
Pelo que eu saiba, sim.
É isso, então toda
Também
hora.
na tabela você pode ver, na tabela você pode ver também as outras categorias, também passando cada sua classificação. Igual até a da GTO e tava a da GP2 agora há pouco.
É isso então. Então a galera já tá ligada, já tá conectada aqui com a gente. Aqui na World Race League aqui no Acelera GP. Por enquanto, você vê aí, ó, todo mundo tranquilo, não tivemos aí uma grande ultrapassagem ainda. O pessoal da GP1, a Ginger Racing, que está aí na frente, seguida pela Screaming God Racing, pela All Star Racing e as demais equipes aí preparadas. 14 horas, Leandro. Quanto que a equipe ela tem que pensar? Ah, eu vou colocar tal piloto tal hora, vou checar meus pneus, vou checar combustível. Como é que funciona esse raciocínio das equipes?
Bom, sobre os pilotos, tem que pensar, obviamente, primeiro na resistência que o piloto possui, por causa que não é todo piloto que vai conseguir ficar muitas horas no carro. Também, como é várias horas de corrida, vai mudando o ciclo, também tem que pensar piloto que corre bem na noite, piloto que corre bem na tarde, piloto que corre bem na manhã, porque tem gente que é acostumada a correr de manhã ou de tarde, depois chega de noite e não é acostumado, talvez não, e fica com meio difícil para ele enxergar a pista, aí tem que achar alguém melhor que pilote de noite. Pneu também vai ter que ir buscando sempre a melhor condição para o pneu ao longo da corrida, porque vai ser várias voltas durante essas 14 horas. E é isso.
É isso. Então você observa aí várias categorias correndo, né? O pessoal da GTO, o pessoal da GP1, o pessoal da GP2 ligada e conectada aqui com a gente. O GP1, por enquanto, quem está liderando é a equipe da Screaming Gold Racing. Na Screaming Gold Racing, o legal, para não dizer outra coisa, a gente tem aqui o Speed Rive, né? Tem algumas informações aqui pra gente. Tem as informações da equipe, sensacional, fala de onde que a equipe é, né? A equipe da Screen Gold Racing, aliás, é de Chattanooga nos Estados Unidos, mas não mostra os pilotos. Aí fica complicado. A gente quer dar o nome aqui dos caboclos, mas o pessoal não deixa? Ah, eu consigo ver. Provavelmente é o piloto que está no carro, né? É o Joseph Mitchell, então, no carro da Screaming God Racing, que está em primeiro lugar ali na categoria GTO. A gente também tem as outras categorias aqui ligadas, né? As classes, no caso. Aliás, a Screaming God Racing está na classe GP1. Na classe GTO, quem está se liderando por enquanto é a Singular Racing. Aí realmente da Singular Racing a gente não tem aqui no Speed Rive o piloto, que está no momento, mas a gente vai acompanhando. E aí a gente vê a diferença, né, das categorias, a diferença das classes, né? Porque fica vários pelotõezinhos distribuídos. Né? Tem o pessoal que já está bem lá na frente, quase terminando a volta. Aí tem uma galera que está no meio, tem uma galerinha que está no final da corrida. E aí a gente vê, né, a disputa do segundo e terceiro da categoria GTO, a galera da Singular Racing da AA Vitória Racing vai ultrapassar legal, pegou. Pegou por fora, chegou pelo vácuo, depois caiu pelo lado direito. Consegue a ultrapassagem. Belíssima aí, hein, Leandro?
Infelizmente eu não vou conseguir comentar sobre a outra passagem por causa que eu tô rumando aqui ainda pra transmissão.
Faz parte, faz parte.
Então eu nem prestei atenção.
Faz parte, faz parte. 13 horas e 47 para o final da corrida. Você ligado aqui no Acelera GP. Bom demais ter o carinho da sua audiência aqui conosco. Lembrando, né, Acelera GP é um canal parceiro aí do Vibra Sports. Aliás, se você ainda não conhece o trabalho do Vibra Sports, tem muito futebol alternativo, tem os demais esportes olímpicos. Então acompanha lá. Na época de Copa do Mundo terá programas especiais, né, para falar de Copa do Mundo. Então já se inscreva lá no Vibra Sports. E aí a gente está de carona. Estamos de carona. A gente vê que só é a sexta posição, o carro de número 112. Estamos de carona com o carro 112. Já a gente descobre de quem que é o cidadão, né, que a gente está acompanhando. Mas aí você viu uma visão mais interna. O carro 112 da TC Klein Racing. Agora apareceu ali. No overall, o pessoal da TC Klein Racing estava acompanhando a prova de dentro do carro. Essa câmera é legal.
PH
Fala comigo.
é um detalhe bem interessante, né? É que quando deu pra ver aquela câmera de dentro do carro, também mostra informação do nível da gasolina do carro.
Por enquanto, todo mundo com um tanque bem cheio, né?
Sim, sim, o carro mesmo que tinha mostrado tava com 74% do tanque ainda.
E o pessoal vai chegando, você vai se ligando, se conectando. Ainda tá batendo aquela preguiçite, né? Muito bom dia pra você. Você já tá assim, preguicinha. Show, preguicinha. São as 14 horas de Daytona. Aqui pra você, ligado e conectado no Acelera GP. Ainda hoje, você vai acompanhar aqui com a gente a demais prova, né? A partir do meio-dia, vem uma outra tropinha aí pra gente trazer essas emoções pra você. E amanhã tem mais Endurance na tela do Acelera GP. A gente vai ter aí as emoções, né? Do TCR Eastern Europe em formato Endurance.
PH,
Vai ser legal demais. Fala comigo, Leandro.
notícia triste pra todo mundo que tava gostando que as Mercedes não estavam indo bem em comparação ao início da temporada. Infelizmente a Mercedes voltou ao topo no treino livre 3.
GP de Monaco de Fórmula 1, né? Que você acompanha amanhã aqui na Acelera GP, 10 horas da manhã largada. Ontem a gente estava acompanhando aqui o treino livre 2, né? As Ferraris bem demais. Só que a Mercedes ali no encalço, né? E hoje então, tá confirmado? Acabou o treino livre 3, deu Mercedes, as duas na ponta.
Na verdade foi só o Antonelli, porque em P2 tivemos o Leclerc e em P3 o Hamilton. E já já irá começar a sprint da Fórmula 2.
É isso, a gente vai te atualizando também das categorias de Fórmula, né? Mônaco é legal demais, cara. Grande pista,
E,
corrida de
e atrás a
rua.
gente que teve uma quali azarada, viu? Os dois carros vão largar nas últimas posições.
Não teve jeito, né? Um bateu e o outro ficou içado em cima da linha. Mas teremos Rafa Câmara na pole. Estamos torcendo por um bom resultado aí do brasileiro. A gente vai acompanhar então aqui para vocês. Olha, o mesmo carro para você ver o quanto gasta, tá? A gente estava vendo o mesmo carro aí da equipe da TC mais cedo. O tanque da gasolina tava ali, ó, quase batendo no último nível. Agora já consumiu um pedacinho, hein? Os bichinhos bebem, hein, Leandro?
Sim, sim. Eu já tinha até tentado raciocinar um pouco aqui, por causa que tinha sido, acho que só quase 25 minutos, 20 minutos de corrida, e já estava em 74%. Agora você já olha que já está em 70. Nossa, esse número persegue, hein? Já está em 67%. Então, realmente, é um carro cachaceiro, viu?
Está em 67%?
Não, não, não faça a gente perder a sua dignidade, PH. Mas, infelizmente, está em
Ai,
67%.
67%. Ai, 30 anos na cara, 10 anos de carreira para mandar um 67%. Que beleza. Tem que se adaptar à linguagem
Agora, se você-
dos mais jovens, né? Não tem jeito.
acho que agora a sua esposa poderia te dar uma bronca, viu?
Ah, meus amigos, seguimos acompanhando aqui. Faltando 13 horas e 41 minutos para o final da prova. E aí a gente vai acompanhando. Você vai ver o grid aí dos melhores posicionados em cada categoria, né? Categoria GTO com a AI Vitara Racing com seus dois carros logo à frente, o carro de 119 e o carro de 120. E aí a GTUs, o carro da Ford 48 competindo. Para eles está tranquilo, né? Já ganharam na GTU. E aí a gente percebe, né, que a maioria dos carros que estão ali na frente, batendo 2 minutos e pouquinho, são todos carros aí da AI Victoria Race, né? O pessoal da GTO, que tá todo mundo na frente. E aí a gente vê bastante carro da GT1 misturado, né? Bate o pelotão, depois tem o carro da Aeroflight da GT2, aí tem mais um pelotão de GT1, e aí tem outro pelotão de GP2. Tá todo mundo misturadinho, mas automaticamente todo mundo também nas suas categorias. A gente vai acompanhando e é todo mundo meio igual, né? É uma competição que depende muito mais da sua equipe de pilotos do que necessariamente de uma grande habilidade. Bom, mas você vê, o pessoal da GP2, a Aeroflight está 5 segundos à frente praticamente do segundo colocado. Então tá bem desequilibrado, né? O pessoal da GTO que tá mais junto. E aí na GT8 a gente só tem um carro. 13 horas e 39 pro final da corrida. Vocês vão me dar uma licencinha que eu vou gravar um story para chamar o pessoal, né? Vou chamar o pessoal para vir aqui pra gente curtir essa corridaça, né? Para quem tem a paciência de curtir o Endurance, aqui com a gente no Acelera GP. Então vou falar para vocês e vou falar automaticamente aqui pro meu story no Instagram.
PH,
Fala comigo, Leandro.
eu não sei por quê, mas que eu não estou acompanhando muito o novo regulamento da Fórmula 2, mas não estou vendo o Rafa Câmara na P1. Fiquei agora em dúvida.
Sobre o quê? Perdão, estava gravando meu story.
Por enquanto, não. Ah, tá. Mas eu não tô vendo o carro do Rafa Câmara.
Será que ele abdicou da sprint?
Eu não sei se foi por causa de que a câmera mostrou de certo ângulo que não deu pra ver, mas não vi o carro do Rafa Câmara ainda, só o do Dirks.
E olha que é um carro amarelão, hein? Não tem nem como não ver.
Não sei. Agora está mostrando os carros ali da frente. Deixa eu ver. Na outra posição. Eu não tô vendo o carro do câmera. Está apenas um carro branco e outro carro azul na fila da frente. Opa, eita, pera aí. Câmara largando em 10º colocado. Ai, ai, ai.
A câmera vai carregar em décimo na sprint. Eu acho que a classificação era sobre a corrida principal, né? Eles devem somar uma pontuação ali na
Tomara.
sprint. Porque até a própria Fórmula 2 anunciou, né? Que ele seria pole na principal. Então acho que eles consideram outra forma ali para a corrida sprint. E aí a gente acompanhando aqui a World Racing League. Para você, amigo ligado e conectado aqui na Acelera GP. (13h36) para o final da corrida. A gente vê essa primeira fase, né? Essas primeiras horas, mas opa, eu ia falar da administração, mas a gente teve uma bela ultrapassagem ali, hein? Só beirando do lado esquerdo e vem outra, mais uma vez pegando o vácuo do lado esquerdo e ultrapassando, sensacional. O carro ali que eu vou chamar, apelidar carinhosamente de carro havaiano, né, que tá ali com uma pintura belíssima entre azul e rosa e vai tomar, hein? Ele colocou todo mundo para correr e agora vai tomar uma ultrapassagem linda pela esquerda. Não, segura a posição, segura bem. E vai atacando, tá? E vai atacando. Franco atirador ali, o carro que tem a bundinha azul celeste, branco com os detalhes vermelhos. Ele vem para cima, vai ultrapassar de novo. Colocou roda com roda na subida e ultrapassa. Tá sem freio, tá sem freio, tá sem freio. É o carro da Wellhouse Motorsports. É a casa dos pneus que colocou o pneu para cantar. 2 curvas passando todo mundo aí, Leandro.
Bela corrida, viu, até agora, mesmo que seja poucos minutos. Aí já dá pra ver uma emoçãozinha já. Tomara que ao longo da corrida esteja mais ultrapassagem, mais disputa.
Ah, meus amigos, tenho certeza disso. Olha aí, como o carro da Well Racing já vai vindo, né? Na sua liderança, consolidando sua liderança. Pessoal da GTO que se segure, que o carro da Well Rouse disparou. E é como a gente fala, né? Tomara que tenha um pouquinho mais de emoção. Ó, e olha o tempo. 1:11 para 2:100. Ah, não, tá. A volta número 11, né? E aí o pessoal a 2 segundos do carro da Wellhouse. Que aí você vê, acabou de ver ele na tela.
PH,
Fala comigo.
não sei se o Rafa Câmara se inclui, mas eu estava vendo no Stories da F2 e eu vi uma notícia aqui que diz que vários pilotos receberam punição pós-quali.
Então pode ser isso aí, hein? Então pode
E já
ser
teve a
isso
largada.
aí.
Nossa, 30 voltas.
E aí a gente tem o Leandro que vai ficar aqui de plantão esportivo, né? Acompanhando aí as emoções da Fórmula 2, atualizando para você. E aí a gente aqui na torcida, claro, mandando vibrações positivas pro Rafa Câmara. Valeu demais a todo mundo que está acompanhando aqui com a gente às 14 horas de Daytona. Para você. A gente vai acompanhando poucas emoções, né? Temos aí o carro da Well Racing que ultrapassou todo mundo, fez e aconteceu. Mas a gente vai junto. Valeu demais a todo mundo que tá ligado, que tá conectado aqui com a gente. É sempre bom demais ter você com a gente aqui no Acelera GP. E aí, o pessoal vai passando, vai vendo, vai acompanhando e, como a gente falou, né, os carros da GTO tá muito à frente, o pessoal de GP2, o pessoal de GP1 tá um pouquinho mais aproximado. E a gente vê que a Wellrouse, pelo jeito, vai aproveitar a vantagem para trocar o piloto, né? Já tá se aproximando ali dos boxes e é isso mesmo, troca de piloto. Vai aproveitar também, claro, daquela olhadela no carro. Mas aí, como o pitch ele é um pouquinho mais elaborado do que um pitch de fórmula, por exemplo, será que com 2 segundos de vantagem é o melhor momento para parar? Porque, se bem que tem muitas horas, né? Não passamos nem da primeira hora ainda, passamos da primeira meia hora. Mas aí a gente vê também o estado do carro, né? Parte da frente dele ali. Ah, não, é a pintura. Eu achei que tava rasgadão, mas não, é a pintura. Do carro de número
Ilusão de
91.
ótica.
Ilusão de ótimas. A 91 da Wellhouse Motorsports, estava em primeiro, agora já está aí em 10º, né? E o pessoal da equipe também está trocando com uma velocidade os pneus que eu vou te contar, hein? Meia hora para trocar um pneu. Que beleza.
Eu acho, eu acho que se levar o carro aqui na mecânica aqui da esquina, eu acho que troca mais rápido.
Que é isso. Com o tempo de chegada dos Estados Unidos para a mecânica da tua esquina, hein? E ainda vai mais rápido. Que beleza, a gente vê o pessoal da Well. O pior, né? É a Wellhouse Motorsports. Imagina a demora para trocar o pneu na Wellhouse. Meu Deus do céu, os caras estão se complicando para trocar um pneu, mano.
Nossa, mas jogaram alguma coisa fora ali? Jogaram a pistola fora?
Os caras estão entravados ali em um pneu, cara. E a
E
equipe,
já temos carro
ela
de
é
corrida.
patrocinada. A equipe, ela é patrocinada por uma loja de pneu. Ai, meu Jesus Cristo. Isso é a verdadeira propaganda negativa, né, Leandro Corrêa?
Ah, mas se for parar pra pensar que a Fórmula 1 inteira tá junto da Pirelli e a Ferrari faz estratégias e trocas de pneu ruim, a gente acho que eles podem zoar a Ferrari também um pouquinho nesse sentido. Então, são duas equipes atrapalhadas com anúncios negativos.
Camila perguntando aqui, né? Você estava trocando um pneu de uma areia pela demora, né? Rapaz, que é isso? A Wellhouse. Se fosse qualquer equipe, beleza. Mas a Wellhouse Race, que estava na liderança, tá encavalada no pit stop por causa de pneu. Aí a gente vê o carro 91 da Wellhouse Racing de volta. Valeu demais a todo mundo ligado e conectado aqui no Acelera GP. Sempre bom demais ter você aqui com a gente. E o carro da Wellhouse já está de volta aí na pista. Tomara que ele faça aquela ultrapassagem de novo, né? Passar ali de tudo. Que passou ali de todo mundo. E, opa! Quase foi a primeira ali, hein?
Opa,
Quase foi a primeira vítima ali.
Tony Reis?
Aí tá com os pneus zeradinhos, né? Ou não, né? Viram que o primeiro já não deu para trocar, aí nem trocaram o resto. Colocou ali mais uma vez, vem pelo vácuo, o carro da Wellhouse Racing. Vamos ver, vem agora pelo lado direito, vai abrir a curva. Pela esquerda, aliás, colocou pneu com pneu, mas perdeu, né? Perdeu ali na reta. Vai tranquila. Mas bonita a pintura, tá? Apesar das atrapalhadas da equipe, bonita a pintura. Vamos ver na subida. Colocou de novo para pegar o vácuo. Vamos ver, mas se distanciou, né? Essa retona inclinada eu acho legal demais. Eu acho legal demais que o pessoal dá uma velocidade incrível para aquilo ali. E aí, pelo jeito, a Wellhouse Racing vai demorar um pouquinho mais para se recuperar, né? No mesmo nível que estava na liderança com 2 segundos de vantagem. 13 horas e 28 para o final da prova. A galera vai acelerando. Claro que muita coisa pode acontecer, tá? São só aí as primeiras horas. Nem deu a primeira meia hora ainda completa. Então tem. Aliás, já deu sim, né? Passamos aí da primeira meia hora, já há alguns minutos. E você, claro, acompanhando aqui no Acelera GP, a World League Racing. E aí, Leandro, como é que tá a F2? Já já o Leandro vem aí com um plantão
PH,
esportivo. Fala comigo.
olha, de uma hora para outra, de uma hora para outra, a gente já tem 67 pessoas assistindo a live.
Muito bom, galera chegando, galera conectada. Valeu demais. A todo mundo que liga, se liga aqui. Nossa, hora GP, se ainda está conhecendo o canal, por favor, se inscreva. A gente já está pertinho aí dos 1000 inscritos. Então vem com a gente curtir essa grande emoção aqui no AGP. E o pessoal vai se reorganizando, né?
Olha, eu tô com realmente um medo do Câmara ter sido punido, por causa que o Dirksen, dá pra ver que o Dirksen larga uma posição à frente também, larga em quarto, no grupo B ele tinha sido quinto, né? Mas ainda tem que levar o tempo dos outros, do outro grupo. Câmara conseguiu 2 posições apenas, desde o início, e tá bem longe do 7º colocado.
E Mônaco, né? A gente tem uma corrida mais curta em Mônaco, exige muito do piloto, da precisão principalmente, né? Porque.
Curta entre aspas.
Assim, é uma sprint, né? Ela é. A sprint é necessariamente a metade da corrida longa ou não?
Por aí, mas na Fórmula 2, se for levar 30 voltas na Fórmula 2, já é até que bastante coisa.
Então a gente vai acompanhando, né? A quinta etapa da World Racing League. Valeu demais a todo mundo que está ligado e conectado aqui com a gente. Sempre bom ter você aqui acompanhando às 14 horas de Daytona. Passamos da primeira meia hora e você vem junto aí com a gente. Daytona me lembra muito Daytona USA, né? Para quem era da minha época, porque quem já tá na casa dos 30, vai lembrar muito do Daytona USA, né? Tanto ali. Sim. Vai lembrar tanto a versão do Sega CD quanto a versão dos fliperamas, né? Daytona USA é bom demais. Não, eu tô ligado.
Não.
Eu tô
Ô,
falando do
galera, pera
jogo.
aí.
Ah,
PH, estou incrédulo. Agora temos mais de 70 pessoas assistindo, mas apenas 5 marcações de gostei na live.
aí a galera tá de sacanagem, né? Ou é gringaiada que entrou e não tá
Então,
entendendo bulhufas do que a gente tá falando. Tem essa possibilidade também. Mas, ó, galera, se você tá aqui com a gente, por favor, hein? Deixa o seu like, é muito importante para divulgar a nossa live, tá? E é isso aí. Vem com a gente, marque o seu gostei e vambora acompanhar as 14 horas
e ó,
de Daytona.
olha a gasolina.
E ó a gasolina aí, ó. Ó ela, a cruel que a gente tá falando, do mesmo carro, tá? Da galera de novo ali da
Deve,
TC.
deve demais.
Já foi embora. E desde lá esse carro só ganhou uma posição, né? Tava em sétimo, agora tá em sexto. O carro da TC Klein Racing. Já vai se aproximando e vai fazer a primeira. Vai terminar sua volta agora. Tá com a gasolina abaixo, tá terminando. Já tá ali, ó. 31 na gasolina. Acho que ele vai esperar completar essa volta, né, Leandro? 30 agora. E aí é legal a gente também ver a velocidade, né? Tá ali a 140, 150. Agora vai bater, vai ultrapassar legal. Vamos ver pela câmera do onboarding. A ultrapassagem consegue efetuar ali, né? A devida ultrapassagem é o carro de número 112 da TC Klein Racing, que está aí em 17º no ranking geral, mas já é ultrapassado novamente. Vai voltar, vai tentar se recuperar pela curva, não vai. Gostei dessa câmera on-board, hein? Legal demais. Eu fui no salão do automóvel, foi 2018? Acho que foi, 2018. Tinha alguns carros de estoque, né? Lá pra dar uma olhada como é que é por dentro. E é só o suporte ali do piloto mesmo, né? O painel, volante, banco e o câmbio. Não tem muito conforto, não tem banco de couro. Aí vai muito da resistência do piloto também, né? Do quanto que ele conseguir, o carro é praticamente todo manual, né? Então tem que ter muito braço, muita força de vontade. E ele vai mais uma vez com 28 ali no nível de gasolina. E pelo jeito vem para mais uma volta ali. Vem para mais uma volta o piloto da TC Klein Racing. 17º no ranking geral. Quero que o pessoal do GC passe ali o ranking da GP1 para ver o quanto que ele tá na classe dele, né? No geral a gente já viu ele que tá num Chevrolet Corvette
PH?
2023. Usando ali, agora sim temos o ranking da GP1, tá em 7º do ranking geral, né? Fala comigo, Leandro. Já já o Leandro conosco, vem a ultrapassagem ali do carro da TC Line Racing, ultrapassa bem. Retoma mais uma vez a sexta colocação, ó a biquinha dele aqui, ó, passou legal. Esse amarelo com Chevrolet combina muito, cara. Tanto Camaro quanto Corvette nessa cor são lindíssimos, 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 lindíssimos. Valeu demais a você que está acompanhando aqui o Acelera GP. Tivemos uma pequena queda ali com o Leandro Correia, mas já já estará conosco. E aí a gente vai acompanhando a World Race League. E aí a gente vê que o covertão ali da KC subiu um pouquinho o ranking, né? Da TC Klein Racing. Tá em sexto, mas subiu ali também no ranking geral, né? Mas é o sexto da classe GP1. E aí vem ele de novo ali, ó, no meio de dois jogadores, no meio de dois atletas, né? Dos dois pilotos. Quase que perde a definição de piloto, rapaz. 3 minutos e 18, estamos pertinho de completar aí a primeira hora das 14. A gente vai junto. Endurance tem isso, né? Endurance, a gente vê os carros dando volta, dando volta, dando volta. E aí, mas tem as pequenas informações, né?
Man, they were trying to get around that slower car, couldn't make it happen. I think the slower car paralyzed a little bit there by both GTO cars trying to go around both sides. They were able to keep it pretty clean there. The number 25 BMW had an opportunity and just couldn't quite make it happen, or at least didn't want to make it happen. Didn't want to force the issue there this early in the race, but they're going to stay right there with the 120 as they come up onto the banking here. And again, another car, Greg, that BMW, the number 25, that's a big power, big drag, but big power car. It's going to naturally, I think, find a bit of an advantage here at Daytona versus the lighter weight Supra.
Well, that's the time you've got to make it work, you know.
Yeah, you got to take your opportunities where you can get them.
You bet. And
you hope to have that pass done so that you can gain a little bit of time back on the oval and not worry about it into turn one.
Yep.
That Supra can get down in there pretty deep.
That Supra's going to get really held up onto the banking here.
Yeah.
So here's golden opportunity. And there he goes.
He's going to try it. I think he's going to stay with the slower class car there.
Yeah, he dropped down to get a little toe, then pop back out again.
E aí você acompanha aí com a gente. Eu tô aqui, né, cuidando das coisas além do Acelera GP, cuidando das coisas também do Vibra Sports. Aliás, se você ainda não conhece o Vibra Sports, vá lá, por favor, né, e conheça o nosso canal, né, o nosso perfil aqui do Vibra Sports e vem com a gente trazer o melhor da informação conosco. Leandro Corrêa já está vivo, já está conosco, internet restabilizada, comunicação restabilizada, meu querido.
A internet aqui tá ruim, viu? Demais. Mas
Sabadão,
tem
né?
notícias na Fórmula 2.
Opa, atualizações da Fórmula 2, mano.
Atrás já tava com uma quali bem azarada. E agora o Van Hoppen tomou 10 segundos de penalização.
Que finalzinho de semana, hein? Finalzinho de semana pra se esquecer da Trident. E aí, agora a gente tá acompanhando no box o carro de número 25 da SIT. Não, da SRT, né? É um R. SRT. SRT. E tem cachorro. Tá todo mundo. Acho que esse cachorro não veio do pit, né? Agora sim, ó, olha como é trocar pneu não é uma coisa difícil. O pessoal da SRT já passou rapidão. E o meu câmera ali quase desequilibrou, né? O meu câmera deu uma cochilada legal ali, né? Opa! Foi e voltou, mas também não julgo, né? 14 horas? Ele já deve estar imaginando, pô, vou ficar 14 horas aqui no posto. Com certeza deve ter equipe, né? Assim como as equipes trocam os pilotos, com certeza o pessoal da transmissão também vai trocando, né? O pessoal das câmeras, o DTV, por exemplo, o DTV já foi no banheiro, ele tá com uma câmera aqui que ele não troca e quase não tá passando o carro aqui nessa câmera. Ali é a câmera da chegada, né? E o legal é que você vai acompanhando ali os setores. Já temos aí o setor 1, com essa mesma turma aí da GP2, que estava acompanhando. Lembrando, né, o World Race League a gente tem um ranking geral e tem um ranking por categorias, né? Você vê que aqui no geral cada carro tá com uma cor, é porque cada cor é uma categoria, né? Os carros em vermelho são carros de GTO, os carros em azul são carros de GP1, os carros em verde são carros de GP2. O carro em laranja é o carro da GTO. O único carro de GTO que está na pista, né? Temos aí o turno 5, que deram um zoom, graças a Deus, né? Deve ter colocado o câmera bem afastado e tiveram que dar um zoomzão. Tá com pouco zoom. E aí a saída da curva 5. Que é a mesma coisa. Voltamos aí para a câmera da saída do turno 1. E temos uma boa disputa aqui, ó, entre a Open Throttle Racing, carro de número 62, e o carro número 29, né, na categoria GP1, da Screaming Goat Racing. Estão passando aí num gap de 0.3 a 0.4, né? Deu uma aumentadinha na distância. No geral, os carros de GTO estão à frente, né? Os dois carros da IA Victoria Racing estão bem na frente dos seus outros concorrentes. O pessoal vai acelerando e você vai acompanhando aqui no Vibra Sports.
full of professional race cars. But somebody had to think of that. I don't think Siegler are the first ones to have come up with that, to be fair. But those are the margins that you're trying to play with to find just a little bit more time that we can save.
Exactly. And you know, in those dump bottles, there is a restrictor in terms of the flow rate.
Yep.
But what that does is, that vent clears all the air out so that it'll maximize the flow through the restrictor. But the other part.
Valeu demais a você que está ligado e conectado aqui com a gente no Acelera GP. 13 horas e 11 para o final da corrida. A gente vai acompanhando a World League Racing em Daytona, né? Daytona International Speedway. E aí, Drogarias Pacheco com protetor solar. Que beleza. Bom, né? Para você que não quer pegar insolação. E vamos de carona mais uma vez. Aí você vê o ranking da GP1 com o pessoal da Open Throttle Racing, a Screaming Goat Racing, e largou bem, né? Tava em primeiro, já tá ali em segundo, e a gente vê uma galera muito longe, ó. A TC Klein Racing a 15 segundos, o pessoal da a 15 segundos, 1 minuto e 40. Também na GP2, ó, bem desigual. O primeiro carro da Era Flight Racing tá quase 2 minutos na frente do segundo colocado. O pessoal da GTO também, ó, tá com uma distância razoável, 1 segundo, ponto 6. Aí já tem corrida, né? No resto das categorias o pessoal tá muito atrás. E de novo o carro 91 da Well nos boxes, hein? Acaba de sair, mas já vai chegando aí mais uma vez para os boxes. Será que é problema de novo no pneu? Logo da Well House foi de novo por causa de pneu. Mas essa pintura é muito bonita, é uma pintura que é a cara de Miami, né? Esse azulzinho ciano. E aí vai saindo mais uma vez o carro da Well Racing, que tava bem, tava na frente, tava 2 segundos na frente dos seus concorrentes, só que deu um primeiro pit stop aí totalmente errado e ficaram sem muita alternativa, né? Skip Barber Racing. Skip Barber Racing é bom demais. E aí é um problema, né? Porque aqui no Brasil, quem pilota mal a gente chama de barbeiro, né? E aí tem uma equipe Skip Barber Racing, é perigoso. Contemos aí mais uma vez o carro de número 117 da Klein, né? Da TC Klein Racing. Ali nos boxes, você vê aí na câmera, na camerinha inferior do lado direito, ali colado no nosso logo da GP, né? Pelo jeito é motor. Aí quando é motor não tem jeito. Tem que dar uma arrumada legal aí para voltar para a pista. O resto da galera da GP1 que agradece, né? Já carro da TC Klein segue por enquanto em 13º, o carro estava em sexto agora, até agora há pouco. Agora com esse problema já está em 13º. Você acompanhando aqui com a gente no Acelera GP, às 14 horas de Daytona. Pequena pausa, já voltamos. Você está no Acelera GP.
And he's saying, all right, you're good. And my guess is that was bleeding some pressure out of those tires.
Yep. If you want to adhere to that recommendation or the advice of whatever tire manufacturer they might be running around on, you start at that 7 pounds higher, and then, hey, well, it's starting to warm up a little bit. we can take some of that back out now because it's going to keep the tire at that pressure that the manufacturer is looking for.
Exactly, and you're also, keeping in mind that you may need to when the sun starts to go down again, you may need to put a set of tires on that's got a little bit more pressure again, because as the track cools, everything cools, the tires cool, the pressure's not quite as there. So that's the other. I mean, there's so many variables in endurance racing, especially when you're going from day to night, night to day, 24 hours. You constantly have to be adjusting. And, during the course of a race, the one thing that you can adjust the quickest is tire pressure.
Right.
And it has a big effect on the operation of the car, because you got tire pressures that are set to work in complete concert with a setting in the suspension. And so, but as the ambient conditions change, you got to be ready to deal with that. So,
yep. You got the 61 of Open Throttle here. I think that's one of their newer BMW 2 Series race cars. Taking on some fuel here as well. I think the first of the general production runners to come down pit lane here.
I think you're right. They
were
were
scheduled stop.
They were in the top 10.
Yep.
In class when they pitted.
Close. We actually had the TC Klein Corvette come down the lap previous.
Okay. Oh, that's right. And we had been tracking that because we had saw their fuel situation. So only one lap worse than the 61, but the 62 is still out there, I believe, in the lead of GP1.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed, they are. So they're able to stay ahead, and they're 7 seconds clear of the number 29. Not something you hear a whole lot. And the number 46 of Ginger Racing is right on the tail of the number 29. If we can find that, I'm just looking around the track trying to suss that out for us. I think they're in the bit of the track that I can't see, JT. JT, have you been to Daytona with us?
Not with WRL, no, not yet.
So in the sort of big press box up here, if you try to look through the windows, because there's windows between each box, the way they're polarized, you can't see anything to the left. It just reflects what you see to the right. The 62 is coming down pit lane here, so right after the 61, the 62 comes in. So perhaps the 61 a lap early so they can avoid the double stack. We'll see the hits on that as well. I think you're going to see Matteo Siderman take advantage of being able to do all 3 hours here in the morning. There's 3-hour stint limits.
And a mandatory 1 hour between stints.
Yep. So the Screaming Goat car is just exiting the International Horseshoe and heading down towards the kink. The Ginger Racing car is right there on the rear wing, more or less, of the Screaming Goat car, but doesn't look particularly close. We'll just see them come through here shortly. There's the Low Country Camaro. And then there goes the two cars, Screaming Goat and Ginger Racing, of course, two longtime WRL entrants. Plenty of laps, both of them here at Daytona during the 14-hour. The Paul Revere 14-hour, as it is. It's a brilliant branding decision by...
referred to?
Yes, it is. That's a Brendan Kazmarek special, the Paul Revere 14-hour.
Well, I like that. I like that because we no longer have the Paul Revere 250 on the 4th of July weekend.
Correct.
So I love that. Well done, Brent.
Dustin, do you have the graphic to do the scrolling at the top that shows the Paul Revere 14-hour? I would assume not. Otherwise, it would be doing the thing. We had it yesterday, though, no? We'll work on that.
You guys want to hear a absolutely phenomenal... Oh, there's a pass for the lead. Ginger Racing into the Le Mans bus stop. Just slipped down underneath Screaming Goat. Took that spot away. So they're having a good little battle out there.
I wonder if Screaming Goat isn't content here to just chill behind.
I think they are.
The AOA number 55 is going very slowly down pit lane. I think they were out of gas, if not about to run out. The 43 of PC Racing also was on pit lane. So we're starting to see the general production field come to pit lane, and the Supras are still out there, JT.
It is, yeah. Surface flag at the starter stand here.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I'm not seeing anything here.
exiting the International Horseshoe. It is the 67. Oh no, that's the new open throttle.
The open throttle GTO car.
Yes, known as the GT Poor.
Yes.
Yeah.
It had excellent start to the day. I mean, it was running up in the top 5 for that brand new car, but unfortunately, yeah, it looks like a down tire.
It almost, I was gonna say it's doing a consistent pace. It's not like it's run out of fuel. As we talk about that, the 120 and the 119, both leaders are going to come in for a double stacked pit stop here.
Yeah,
towards the end of the pit lane. And we'll see which car is able to get the service done quicker. Both drivers staying in.
It's been an interesting study watching both of those AE victory. Oh, we're looking for the yes. But those two AE victory cars, watching their approach into the Le Mans bus stop has been fascinating because they have used different lines.
Right.
And it can be driver preference, set up on the car, whatever. But
ooh, Greg, the 119
what do we got?
is able to jump the 120 on the pits.
Oh, big.
Just barely. So now we'll see if the 119 has the pace to maintain the lead here, or if the 120 makes their way around. I'm not sure if there's a team orders situation or not.
Boy, where is this piece of debris that they have that, or moisture or whatever? It's a JT correctly said it was the surface flag is what it's, and it just means there is a change from the normal racing surface. Could be fluid, it could be pieces of debris, tire chunk, rain, whatever.
Well, even the folks in the flag stand, because there's two flaggers at start finish, even they seem like they're kind of looking around to see where it might be. I don't see anything either, and I'm more or less right above it. But that's the same flag station that you'd have that covers all the way until, I think, turn 3.
Yeah, so there may be something out of sight.
Yeah.
Coming out of the, it may be something, literally in the pit lane that, as it exits out onto the back.
Right.
So, fuel bottles.
Do want to
Believe
give
me,
an update.
folks.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when those fuel bottles are full, they ain't light.
No, not at all.
So you get your big burly man doing fuel.
Give an update here on GP2. So that AOA Racing BMW still in the pit lane. I think they may have had a mechanical issue. They're still looking at the car. Don't appear to be in any big hurry as the Ginger Racing car returns to the track. Ginger Racing and Screaming Goat both pit in on the same lap. Ginger Racing able to get out a little bit quicker, I think, than Screaming Goat. Screaming Goat still just about to push the car out of the stall. Wonder if they're having issues with the clutch again. They had issues with the clutch on that car at ECR. So I hope this isn't a return to those problems. But they're losing time now.
Oh, boy.
That Ginger Racing car is all the way at pit out. The Screaming Goat car still hasn't left the stall. They're now opening the passenger door and looking in the car. Well, that's not great. Anyway, to finish my thought, GP2, it's the number 365 of Heraflight in that new 4-cylinder M2, the new body style. They are currently in the lead over the 216 of Skip Barber. About a 2-minute gap there. The Skip Barber Racing GR86. I think for the first time, JT, we've got 2 professionally built race cars, factory built, in the lead of GP2.
Yeah, it's very interesting, those cars. I don't know anything about what Heraflight is running, as we're having an issue with the 29 here, leaving its pit box.
I think they're trying to rock it back and forth, maybe to get it out of gear or into gear or something.
Oh,
a starter problem?
Yeah, maybe.
That would be a tough day for Screaming Goat, who love coming to this race. We'll almost certainly see them again at COTA, being, I think, a bunch of Texas locals. So the 29, an early contender in GP1, always a threat when they come to the track. Now opening the hood on the BMW. That's not what you want to see at the beginning of a 14-hour race. They've got time, but boy, a a good effort in the opening stanza of the race, and now just having some troubles here.
Is that a
That's a
radio
computer?
System? Yeah.
We'll see if our man Chris down there can figure out what's going on, and have him text me if and when he knows what the situation is with that. The 55 VOA also has the hood up on pit lane. So I think we've had pit stops from most of the cars now, except for the number 9 of Almonte Motorsports. They're currently in the lead, but they have not stopped. Roughly, we'll call it 5 to 6 seconds ahead of the 119. So when they do make their stop, they'll cycle through probably back down to, call it 7th or 8th, somewhere in there.
And it makes sense, that they would stay out a little bit to just try and make up any ground from that early spin.
Yep.
And again, that's, they're getting all kinds of electronic stuff going on. Well, that almost looks like a charger cable, doesn't it? But, it all comes down to staying in the hunt and being there for the last couple of hours. So for the number 9, we know with that early spin, it's like stay out. And he's giving it some welly right now, trying to build a little bit of margin before he pits.
Yep.
And keep in mind, yes, you've got a stint on the tires now, but the car percentage of weight with the fuel burning off is a lot lighter, and it's more responsive.
Right.
And so, just drive the wheels off it for a couple of laps, get into the pits, and hopefully when you come back out, instead of being in that 7th spot, you're in 5th. And you do that, and keep building so you're right back into the hunt here. I would suspect, though, that we will see that number 9 coming into the pits very soon.
The Ligier just now pulling into pit lane here. So the lightest car running the longest on fuel. Go figure, Greg.
Yeah.
A car we haven't talked about a whole lot this race so far. Usually they're a pretty good contender, but they haven't been near the front, of course. I think that car really compromised here on the high banks at Daytona, just the way it's engineered and the way the power-to-weight ratio rule works out. This is not going to be a preferred track for them. But that car ran great at Barber, ran pretty good at ECR as well. Ran decent at Road America, and then we're going to head back to Road Atlanta here in a few weeks' time. And I think that car will be excellent there as well.
Absolutely. And, just a really, really trick car in so many ways. It looks great as well. Good support on this car. Remo Health, Prime Cube, Madsen Motorsports, and something very special to me, Race for RP. RP being relapsing polychondritis, which is a nasty inflammation, anti-immune disease that affects cartilage in your body.
Right.
And they are great representatives, and I know a couple of the drivers on that team are ambassadors for Race for RP, so great to see that out there. But I think their game plan is like we were talking about, just stay off curbs, drive as quick as we can without tearing up tires, maybe eke out an extra couple laps like they've been doing on fuel.
Yep.
And just try to outlast some of the faster cars here. And if this were like at Thunder Hill, right, these cars were magic, because that's kind of what they were designed for. They were not designed to run on 31-degree banking for miles and miles and miles.
The number 5 of All-Star Racing is currently the leader in GP1. They still haven't stopped. We're at 9:04 a.m., so it's been about an hour and 5 plus the pace laps. That number 5 is going quite the distance.
Yeah, it is.
They're about, let's see, just trying to figure out the gap from them back to the 46, who is, I believe, the effective leader. Yeah, the falling of Screaming Goat here has shuffled up the GP1 battle. And then you've also got the TC Klein problem, where they haven't quite got the range that the rest of the field has. So All-Star Racing is about a minute ahead of the 616 of BRD. And BRD is a little ways ahead of Ginger as well. So All-Star is getting close, that depending on where they're at as far as pit stop times, they could come out and still be near or nearabouts the 46. Now, if you remember early in the race, they were able to be in that lead group.
Yep.
It was behind the Screaming Goat car and then later behind the number 62. The 62 has fallen back behind the 46 and the 75. I think a little bit slower pit stop there for the open throttle
No.
crew. And then the Ligier being pushed to the paddock.
Oh, my God.
Not what you want to see there for those guys either.
No.
Especially with that kind of fuel advantage, you start to think like, hey, if they can save a stop, they really only have to stay within a minute of the leader, and they'll be okay.
Exactly.
This is not going to help them in their endeavors.
No, that's pretty catastrophic.
And I think they're going to be pulling the 29 back into the paddock as well here. Yeah, so the 29 is going to get pulled back, and they're going to push it back towards the garages here. So a lot of contenders and big names, Greg.
Is that the number
early.
9? Is that the number 9? Struggling to get into the pits?
Apron here?
That might be the split 5 BMW.
Oh,
I think
okay.
it is
No,
the split
it's
5
not.
BMW.
Sorry. Oh, all right.
Oh, they got it refired.
All right. Sorry for fans of Altamani. They've stayed out so long.
Right. That split 5 car able to get back going. Always have these little electrical gremlins from time to time, especially from the BMWs. We had that, what was that, JT? 20...
Oh, God,
22
the traction
or 23?
control system.
Yeah, so Greg, the roll, like the roll and yaw
ABS.
sensor in the BMW M4s would freak out and kick the car into limp mode when they would go up onto the banking. And it was a huge problem
Oh, my
for
goodness.
all of the M4 runners, which was a lot of the GTO field at the time. Random Vandals and ACP with Tangerine Associates and GTR 99. It seemed like everybody had that car, and they had a ton of problems with the stability control system on that car. The number 9 of Almonte is going to pit in, same with the BRD Motorsports BMW, so they've gone even further than everybody else. With the All-Star car still out there, the last man standing on the original tank of fuel, near the front anyway.
I'll tell you, that 616 of BRD was able to manage fuel pretty darn effectively.
The Dream Machine Fast Track BMW returns to the fray here. They're able to do decent on fuel range in that car. Oh, we've got 2 cars off. I think there's been a collision at the International Horseshoe. It's between the 888 of Cajun Canuck and the 302 Riser Harness Ford. They were both off. Yeah, you see them right there.
Yeah.
I think an incident has occurred.
Well, the Ford continues. That Boss 302. That's the.
Oh.
The
119.
No.
That's the 119.
119's off as well.
Unbelievable.
It's all coming undone here. Now, this is going to help some of these cars. I think depending on how quick the 9 can get back out, this is going to help the 9 tremendously. They're still putting another can of fuel in the car. I think we're going to go double yellow here because we've got multiple cars that need to be recovered. You're not going to do hot pulls when there's multiple vehicles in play here. But the 9 desperately needs to get back out here. And then they can hopefully, depending on where the 120 is, I'm looking for it.
Yeah, they're having a chat. And I was just watching, and they're having a chat, and I can see one of the guys going, we got to get him out. We got to get him out.
Yeah.
You know, pull the bottle. Even if we're, down a little bit, this could be huge. Who is that? Is that
That's
that
a
triple A?
That's the triple A.
Oh, the 555.
Oh, 555. Sorry. Oh, man. That bit
I
comes back
know,
to bite
it's
me.
weird because the AAA this weekend is the silver car.
And the yellow one used to be the AAA. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. Okay, so the 120 has gone by pit out. Oh, and Almonte's just now pulling the fuel jug.
Go. Now you're doing...
No, now it's too late. They've already lost the lap, I think.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, in that instance, if it's me, I think I'm sending the car out not fully fueled, waiting for the field to bunch up, and then coming back down pit lane again.
Yep. Absolutely.
And then at least you're going to give yourself a fuel strategy advantage unless the other cars also decide to pit here. Still no double yellow either, so, maybe it's all for nothing here. Man.
Oh, now they can't get... all right. baby, go.
And it's also
Quem trabalha de sol a sol não pode perder um minuto. Com o tap da Infinity Pay, tudo o que você precisa para vender já está no bolso. O cliente chegou, encostou o cartão no celular e pronto. Pagamento feito.
Todas as opções de pagamento inclusas aí na maquininha que tá no celular.
É só baixar o app e sair vendendo. Basta um CPF.
A gente faz o parcelamento também até em 12 vezes. Muita gente acaba voando com a gente por conta do parcelamento.
A gente consegue cobrar o cliente em qualquer lugar e é algo muito rápido, muito prático pra gente.
Na areia, no mar, no céu. O tap da Infinity
out from the pit out.
Or from turn 3 even. And they're going to pick up the leader, and if the leader pits, then they'll pick up the second car behind the leader, regardless of what position they're in.
And we just saw the lone competitor in GTU, the Team 48 competition, Sebico, coming in, and they've done a really nice job. I mean, they can go a lot longer on fuel. They're so much lighter, and the Indian is not a massive power plant, so it doesn't eat tons of fuel. They've done a nice job. I mean, they pitted from 6th overall, so not too shabby. But
well, if they take this yellow flag pit stop here, this will put them, I think, back in the fray.
I think so.
And if they can just keep getting lucky like this, they may end up with a decent overall result. The 120 does come down pit lane. A wise move here, I think, at Daytona with the fuel stints the way they've been.
Yep.
So they're going to take a little bit of fuel, a little splash.
And now, if the number 9 team is paying attention, it's like, all right, we can get the lap back.
Right.
And then, even
if maybe not. They didn't put that much fuel in the 120.
No, they sure didn't.
So that's I think if you're the 9, you got to cut that fuel stop short there.
You do. Yeah, I think
you know what's coming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that was a miss for sure.
Yep. The 25's in the pit lane as well. But I think the leaders in GTO here very happy to take some extra fuel on board.
You bet. I mean, it's a smart move.
Yeah, the 9 is going to be pinned just a lap down because they're going to come around and catch the tail end of the 120 effectively. There's going to be some some slower traffic in between by the time they catch the bumper of the 120 here. So if the 120 was going to stop, they didn't miss it by much. They really didn't.
Yeah.
The all-star number 5 finally comes down pit lane. Now, I have to imagine, JT, that they were getting close to their ultimate range, but you don't really know because now they've been able to stop under yellow.
Yeah.
And so that's going to help them tremendously here.
Yeah, this is big.
Kingpin Racing Supra also comes down pit lane. Number 91, I think, took some fuel.
Interesting that the...
Amigos ligados na GP, deixar vocês com um áudio original em inglês, tá? Resolver alguns pequenos problemas aqui também de saúde, dor de cabeça, paradas. Mas agradeço demais a você que está ligado e conectado aqui com a gente. Siga aqui conosco com a narração em inglês da World Race League das 14 horas de Daytona.
It's like, why wouldn't you? And maybe they're waiting until, they get a feel that this caution is going to be ending. Then they'll come in and top off.
That's a good call. Well, I mean, or you wait until the field forms up and you make 2 stops because you're going to lose track position, but you're not going to lose a ton of time.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the 5 here with just incredible luck. I mean, I say luck, Greg, but when you've optimized your car around fuel strategy, at least so it seems, it puts you in a better position to be lucky.
Absolutely.
So, the yellow didn't have to necessarily come out, but they were able to take advantage of it because they gave themselves such a big fuel window here. That car did not have the ultimate pace versus everybody else, but
a substantial advantage here, although they've stopped fueling, and they're now chatting, it looks like.
I think they're doing tire pressures.
Well, they've got to stay on the lead lap here. They need to get going shortly.
And here comes the vet.
Okay, the Ginger Racing car is going to pull in right behind them to take a fuel stop. And so All-Star is going to head back out. So it's a good job that Ginger stopped.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'd be pinned a lap down now. I think Ginger took advantage here that, like, hey, the 5's in, we can take a quick splash for fuel, at least try to get back on their strategy. Of course, I don't think they have the ultimate range, but at least a little bit closer. The 62 also comes right back out onto the pit lane. So your top 3 are going to be behind the pace car. Your top 3 in GP1 are going to be behind the pace car together and near the back of the queue. So I think things might get a little dicey for the lead here in GP1. And it looks like the Aftermath car is going to split the 62 off the rear bumper of the Ginger Racing BMW. Or not Aftermath, excuse me, Wheelhouse. The 112 comes down pit lane now. So they went ahead and fueled up here. That is the Aftermath car that has currently been picked up by the leader.
And, you were talking about the, we've been talking, I guess, all about the dynamics of endurance racing, especially when you're doing a long 14-hour event. We talked about car speed. We talked about driver, pace, and avoiding curbs, all of these things. But let's not forget the strategy component, right? And, if your car may not be that well suited to a track, what is your car's strong suit? Right. And like in the case of the All-Star Racing entry, they may not have that outright pace, but they looked at it and said, we know that if we set a number, we can conserve fuel like crazy.
Yep.
And play that game, and they seem to have done a brilliant job of that. And
do you think Steve Park knows how to save fuel around Daytona?
Probably, I got a feeling.
Probably all right at that.
Got a feeling. Just remind everybody, GP2 still leading, Heraflight Racing, the 365 over the 216 Skip Barber Racing School entry. And again, I just love the concept of that program, that it's for some of the top students in the Skip Barber Racing School program. And if you're really, proved to be a really solid student, you get an opportunity to come do a actual endurance race. That's pretty darn cool. Third is the AOA Racing, number 55. And then the AAA to Cajun Canuck. That is your field.
Yep, and the 55 is still sitting forlornly on the pit lane here. Justin, if we have a moment, this might be a good time to pay the bills, I reckon, as we get the 119 loaded up onto the flatbed.
Well, that's a good point.
Give us a little bit of time to talk to Uncle Continental here. We'll see what happens. We'll be right back here from Daytona, the Paul Revere 14-hour. We're about an hour and a bit in, and we've already had a little bit of strategy discussion here, as lots of different fuel windows to keep track of. So we'll be right back. I'm looking forward to the next stint of the race here.
You can feel confident Continental is the smart choice in tires.
Can they handle extremes?
Yep. Tested from the Texas desert to near the Arctic Circle.
Really?
Really.
Anything for the guy who finds that one pothole?
Yeah, road hazard coverage has your back.
For real?
Absolutely.
Were they made by like a bajillion engineers?
Well, closer to 100. Continental. Welcome to the smart choice in tires.
And we are back at Daytona International Speedway as lights are still on the safety vehicle, but we think we should be going back to green in fairly short order. And we've been talking about, right before we went to break, the strategy that can be employed here and make things work. And the team that may have played that incredibly well, BRD Motorsports, now leading in GP1, guys, up 11 spots from where they qualified. And that was all done through fuel consumption. That's impressive.
No, pretty darn good job by that car to keep themselves in the lead here. All-Star Racing, of course, also getting a great fuel mileage out of that car. Split 5, number 315, then the 46 of Ginger Racing, the 62 of Open Throttle, then the 64. The TC Klein, number 112, back in 7th as we come to the green flag here. The Aftermath Motorsports, number 117, will lead the field. They've got the leader right behind. The Almonte Porsche gets a great start here. I think they're looking to get their lap back now. Like, they want to get around the 120 and disappear into the distance, hoping that they can get back to the tail end of the field here.
I think that's an absolutely, stellar plan by Almonte to jump that car if they can and get a move on here. Now, of course, the AE Victory machine is going to do everything it possibly can to keep that car behind it. And Almonte right now has to work around that yellow Porsche as well. So, again, on these restarts, Dorsey Schrader used to always say restarts beget real restarts. And so often you get a crash on a restart because somebody's just too anxious, too greedy, whatever. But it is an opportunity to make some moves, and here's that kind of traffic we're talking about as you're working through now. And, of course, it all gets sorted pretty quickly if everybody cleanly gets through Turn 6.
Wow.
Sounds like they maybe didn't.
I think, I can't quite tell, that might have been the Split 5 car trying to go down the inside of somebody, and they were trying to take it 3 wide, running back up onto the banking, Craig. Probably not the smartest move coming back to green here.
No.
But of course, we're going to see the gaggles of cars headed around. And there is the 120. We see the 67th, the Open Throttle GTO car into the pit lane. Looks like a scheduled stop.
It had come in through the back door before, right? Ooh, way wide. Oh.
Yep. Man.
Boy, that just parked everybody behind him there.
So keep in mind that 67 was the car that had the flat tire and took the shortcut at turn 5, the West Horseshoe. So I think that's them actually back out.
Excellent.
Thanks,
well, they're fueled up and ready to go. And they are going to come out just behind this pack of GTO cars here. The Singler car has been able to find a way to fight through the traffic and is now in mostly clear air. Only the Almonte Porsche separates them from the leaders in GTO right now. It's the 120th AE Victory, the Toyota Supra.
Yeah, and that Singler racing entry would love for that number 9 to get around on the AE Victory car. And in so doing, maybe slow it up a little bit so Singler can get a little bit closer here.
Just take a little bit of time. Battle a little bit more for me.
Exactly. Wear them out. Use them up.
Yep.
And there is that little GTU machine. And, Team 48, they've had some reliability issues in terms of finishing. I know we're still a long way into this, and I don't want to jinx it, but that little thing that Zepico just looks like it's running like clockwork right now.
Yep. Not having to do battle directly with anybody, just keeping their heads down, getting good mileage, learn the car, learn the track, take it nice and easy here.
Exactly.
The Carbless sponsored entry.
Yeah, and that's one of the worst things in an endurance race for a team that is working on a new car, a new program, drivers or whatever, is to have some silly incident that knocks you out early.
Right.
Because there's nothing more important to these teams right now than track time. The drivers love it, but for the teams to really try and get a feel on these cars, and you don't do that sitting with a broken corner in a garage.
Correct.
And so that's, one of the missives, I'm sure, from every team owner, team strategist, whatever, is, number one, just don't have contact so we can keep racing.
And you towed all the way here to Daytona.
Exactly. Get your laps in. Keeping a look here, the Almonte entry, and that is the Mag Aviation Group, Odessa pedal pads machine. Last lap at 2:03.4, AE Victory at 2:02.6. So they're not quick enough to close down. In fact, the Singler Racing car is starting to close up. That BMW right there on maybe putting them a lap down as well. And, I love to see that Wheelhouse entry out there, but boy, are they down the order. 23rd overall right now. But running quick.
Yeah, running good. I think lots of teams here running pretty well and, able to keep the car clean.
Yep.
Take advantage of the nice day at the track. We've got a lot of cloudage today at Daytona. Not so much that I'm worried about the rain, but enough to keep some of the direct sunlight off of the track.
Exactly.
For at least a good portion of the day.
Yeah, and keeping some of that sunlight off of the pit crews. Oh, TC Klein, that Corvette. Look at this. Tried to make it 3 abreast around the outside in turn number 5. And you can see why. They are getting held up massively right now.
Yep.
Trying to get up and onto the banking.
I think they'll.
Sinal de sorte é contar com o Nubank. Faz
18h59, seu chefe te chama no corredor. Doril enxaqueca é potente por sumir com a dor. Tomou Doril, a dor sumiu.
Nice job.
Keep it nice and tidy. Get back to the fuel, or back to the throttle, early.
Well, back to the fuel.
Yeah.
That works.
Speaking of fuel, they're already 17% of the way through their fuel run. Tough. Real tough.
That is tough. And that's where, again, strategy comes into play.
Yep.
All right, we know we've got this issue. How do we deal with it? And there's few teams better placed, I think, in terms of just experience than the TC Klein team.
Right.
I mean, we also saw this at Road America.
Hey, look who's coming out.
Yeah,
sorry,
coming back out.
Yep.
But yeah, the Corvette just not able to go the distance yet. I can't remember if it was a fuel pickup issue or if it was just running a stock tank and not an endurance tank.
Well, it's a stock tank, JT, and then it's also that they haven't really tuned the engine for racing at all. So it's still giving fuel on overrun to cool the cats down, for example. Even though there's no cats in the car. All they've done, my understanding, is they've electronically limited the throttle to, whatever percentage keeps them in the power range. So they're just running around basically with effectively a piece of wood underneath the throttle pedal is how you would think of it on an older car. But they're doing that electronically. So seems like they haven't figured that out yet. I know they had talked about maybe getting a powertrain tune in there that was going to save them a little bit more fuel and get a little better optimized, but it doesn't look like that's happened.
Split 5, I believe that was getting very deep into turn 1 and going a bit off track.
Everyone was advised in the drivers' meeting yesterday afternoon to not run straight through into turn 6, which seems like common sense to me. They talked about, they would really prefer, because the flagger that's out there cannot see. They have their back turned when there is a flagger out there. So they really would prefer that you go deep into the runoff there, make a U-turn, and face traffic coming off of the tri-oval, and then proceed with caution. And that way you won't lose a lap either.
Better visibility for everyone, a lot safer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, and as you said, that you would think that would be some common sense. But, drivers don't always, recognize, what, a flagger is looking in what direction,
Right.
And so little reminders like that are always a good thing.
Nice to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see here.
Very cool thing to talk about here for open throttle in GP1, the 62 leads. As you know, we did see that a little bit earlier, but the 64 has been promoted up to third. It actually just got around the 5 from All-Star Racing, I believe, this previous lap. Definitely a benefactor of the full course yellow, but that car definitely has some pace at the moment. Looks like all 3 front runners in GP1 able to lap underneath 2:11 at the moment. I believe the only cars in GP1 able to do so. Possibly Screaming Goat. We're waiting for them to come through one more time to see what kind of pace they're doing, but unfortunately they are 12 laps out of the class lead.
Yeah, that's such a shame. I mean, the speed that they had, and to me, it certainly looked like they were playing that game really, really well. They'd lead for a while, then they drop back to second, but they were always right there with the other car. And, that gets down to that strategy that we were talking about having the ability to, draft a car that helps with your fuel consumption. And you play that game right, and you find somebody willing to work with you. And, if you can work that to where you just open up a big lead over the rest of the field, that's just golden. And it looked to me like they were playing that game to perfection, and then had that problem at the pit stop. And that was that. So AE Victory Racing is running quick enough right now. They've been about a half-second a lap quicker than Singler Racing. And so that margin now is up to about 6.5 seconds. And then another 13.5 seconds back to the number 4 of Kingpin Racing. So right now, that AE Victory 120 looking pretty stout out there at this stage.
61 back into the pit lane. Yeah, I think the pit strategy has been just bumbled by the timing of that yellow, so we're going to have to be on our toes, I think, for the rest of the day.
I think you're right. And you know what, guys? How about a shout-out to a sort of under-the-radar performance right now, that Low Country Motorsports Camaro, 5th in class, 6th overall right now.
Nice.
Just doing a really, really nice job.
Yeah, and honestly, they lost some time early from their first pit stop. It was a very, very long stop. But otherwise, that car definitely has, decently competitive pace in that class and is staying out of trouble otherwise.
What power plant is in that car?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, probably some variation of an LS.
I would imagine, yeah. It certainly got some grunt. Speaking of which, right back on board here with the 112 at TC Klein. Right on the back of that. That's still the number 5 All-Star.
Yep, battle for 4th in GP.
Battle for 4th, yeah, the All-Star Racing. That, I think it says Pixie on the back of that machine. And this is where just the slipperiness of that C8 comes into play. You can see once it gets into the real... Oh, and then what an aggressive move down to the inside. But look at the fight around the outside by the All-Star Racing, number 5. But the position was just too perfect for TC Klein. And that car has picked up now that 4th spot. But I really think the All-Star Racing number 5 driver thought, okay, I've I've got it defended here, and just opened it up a little bit. And the Corvette, you know, that was Senna-esque, right? If there's a gap, you go for it. And that's exactly what they did. And, you know, that's a very effective way to make a pass every once in a while. It's just surprise your competitors. And that was out of nowhere, I think. As we're watching a problem left rear corner. Yeah. That's the Arista entry.
Yeah, it's been interesting to watch the Corvette. I've noticed from the onboard, that car's actually very, very good on the brakes. It seems to be one of the late breakers, especially for, you know, going into turn one and also going into the La Manche Chicane bus stop. Just able to go, you know, just a bit further into the braking zone than some of the competitors. So I think what we saw there was, you know, initially on the brakes and then seeing a good opportunity to reduce the pedal a bit to gain some track going into turn one there and just kind of force the issue.
Well, I think you're right, and I think a lot of that's platform. You know, you look at that one; it's mid-engine, so it's got great balance. So that, you know, if you're in a rear-wheel drive car and you're standing on the brakes, right, and you come off of the brakes while you're turning, and you start, you know, quickly kind of come off of the brakes, that all the energy then releases into those front tires, and the back end can step out. Well, when you're or it's a lot more likely to, when you're in a mid-engine platform car, you can make that little adjustment, come off the brake a little bit more abruptly, and you're not going to get a big pivot in the car, right? And so what that allowed was whoever's driving that Corvette saw the opportunity, was able to release the pressure on the pedal and keep that car in a straight line and just dove it down to the inside. And, you know, that makes that car really effective under braking. Remember, it's a car that's got some you know, decent aero to it. It's slippery in the body style, but it does make aero, which helps you in braking. And the other thing is look at also the clearance underneath the car compared to that BMW. That Vet is right stuck to the ground. And all of those little things, you know, allow you to be a little bit more aggressive in the braking zone. And it paid off that time. That was just a beautiful pass.
Yeah. Other side of the coin, if I'm with All-Star, especially if I'm a spotter, I'm going to be like, hey, just let the Corvette go.
Yep.
They're a bit quicker right now. But their fuel mileage has it so that they're going to be doing, you know, an extra pit stop before you have to come in.
Right. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
It's short-term fight, but you gotta look at the long-term strategy.
I'll tell you what, that Screaming Goat Racing entry, you know, back on track, it just got through on the number 5 as well. Now it's laps down, but once again, man, it is flying out there.
I did briefly see when we had the picture-in-picture footage of the 61 on pit lane, just in the background, we did see the 22 from TCS Motorsports go back behind the wall. That car, if I recall correctly, started the race, but came in at the end of the first lap, went behind the wall. They had just come back out after this full course yellow, did another lap, but did not manage to fix the issue that car is having, and has since gone back behind the wall once again.
Yeah. Well, you know, that is, you know, what, and who knows what the issue is, but, you know, one of the real challenges of taking a production road car and turning it into a race car, and I remember when the Toyotas first, the Nissans first, the 350 and 370s, when they started to come into World Challenge racing in the touring car category, they had massive problems because they couldn't get all of the codes, the emergency codes, if you will, out of the the ECU on the car. So, it would just do these random things at certain points because, when you're racing, you're exceeding what normal passenger driving parameters would be by far. And, they, literally would have to have electronics experts from the factories come in and try and clear the codes out. And that still remains a bit of an issue when you're trying to take a road car and turn it into a race car and a more modern road car, if you will. You're still chasing those gremlins.
Yeah.
So we're getting a report that the 17 from Team Aftermath, the Porsche Cayman S, has gone behind the wall as well. So endurance racing takes its toll. That's part of the game here. AE Victory Racing continuing to lap impressively in the mid to low 203s, the Singler racing car. In the mid to high 203s, and so that gap for AE Victory overall and in GTO has opened up to almost 10 seconds now. And right now, the GP1 leader, the 62 Open Throttle Racing entry, that's the BMW 235 IR, team based out of nearby Jacksonville, and they have fought their way up into a pretty impressive 7th overall right now, with the team number 64 8th overall, second in class, and then the Ginger Racing number 46, the BMW M3, sits in the podium spot. And Hera Flight Racing continues to lead relatively comfortably in GP2 over Skip Barber Racing.
Yeah, that is a very interesting entry. It's I believe a brand new car for them.
Yep.
I don't really know anything about it, but I mean its fastest lap is a 2:11.6. That is GP1 pace.
It is. Yeah, it's flying out there. They've got it working in a hurry. And that's the BMW. I think that's the M2 CSR, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a brand new one.
Yep, that's the turnkey version of the M2 CS. The racing version, a turnkey racing version. Very, very quick cars. And being a BMW, they have what do they call them? The tuning sticks?
Something, yeah.
Which is which is essentially like a flash drive, and you've got various different sticks, and you plug them into the ECU, and it changes the dynamic of the car, affects the horsepower, torque, all of that. And, so with the pace they're showing here, they might either be invited to move up to GP1 or run a different tuning stick in the future.
I think it's going to be both. I think they...
Yeah.
So my understanding is that the car was so new to them that they didn't know, because there's a stick, but there's also options buried in the dash system to change the power mix or the power level.
Yep.
So it wasn't making the power they thought it was supposed to make, and then they were like, maybe we should be doing X, Y, Z. So they're going to stick with the power level that they're at now. They are legal, is my understanding. And I think a lighter than normal GP2 field, I think, throws up a more interesting result. And I think if you had a GP2 field of 10 to 15 cars, that I think we would see that this car isn't as fast as it looks right now.
Right.
Well, but again, I'm still pointing out that lap time is wildly competitive.
Oh, it's pretty fast, for sure.
Even in
Seu próprio celular agora aceita cartão por aproximação. Com o tap da Infinity Pay, você vende no débito e crédito em até 12 vezes e recebe o dinheiro na hora ou no máximo no dia seguinte. Ative agora o tap da Infinity Pay e comece a vender hoje. É de graça.
That 61 is still on the pit lane, looking mighty forlorn.
I hate to hear that.
Yeah.
And you know that comment about driver making a difference. I learned that when I was doing autocrossing and soloing at SCCA, and there was a guy from Omaha, Nebraska. His name was Russ Wiles, and he had just a bone stock BMW. I think it was a 325 back in the day. And he would show up at these pro autocross events, the SCCA Pro Tour, and would oftentimes take fast time a day over the go-karts and the formula cars and all that. And it was just this bone stock car. And they started literally having to reclassify the car all because of Russ. And it was just the guy had the gift. And that's all it was.
Right.
You know, it didn't matter what he would get in something else, and he'd do the same thing. He just had the gift. And, you know, so you get one of those drivers that just absolutely, you know, and I've often said one of the things that separates truly, you know, really, really good drivers and the great drivers, along with bandwidth, just general bandwidth, but that separates them is the really, really good drivers can find the limit frequently. The great drivers live there.
Right.
And are comfortable there. And, you know, that's, you know, so you get a driver that really gets it, way too hot. Got her woed down, but the Almonte car, that was, I don't think they'll have any issues with race control there. That was to avoid potentially getting into an incident. But you can see, you know, that target fixation.
Right.
One car goes wide, the car behind it follows them a little bit. It misses, you know, and that's just part of it. You know, especially if you're really close, you're oftentimes driving through the car's windshield in front of you too.
Yep.
You know, here's this fun little scrum here coming to the line. There it is. You know, I really hate to say it, but I think that Almonte team missed a golden opportunity.
I think so too.
You know,
especially if they've got the pace right now.
Yeah,
that's not what you want to see.
No, that hurts. But AE Victory continues. That margin just keeps going up. Nobody at this stage, they're just consistently running mid 203s, and Singler and Kingpin, they're running, you know, high 203s, low 204s. And so that margin up to over 11 seconds right now for AE Victory, they are just clocking it off. And, you know, it's just an impressive performance by the team.
Mm-hmm.
And Open Throttle, looking at the Open Throttle has been able to open up, the 62, been able to open up pretty substantial margin of some 15.5 seconds over the 46 at Ginger Racing. And TC Klein, that Corvette, has that entry has worked its way now up into third and is kind of attacking on the Ginger Racing machine. It's within a second at this stage. So that bright velocity yellow Corvette finds itself in a position to move up a spot in short order here. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it definitely does. As it, they go in through turn 1 here.
Here they are.
Unfortunately, that the fuel disadvantage on that Corvette's going to be pretty noticeable soon.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can think about how much earlier they had to stop in that first stint. And again, you always play in a serious safety margin in that first stint because, as Ryan has talked about, you've got 2 pace laps, and then it's, getting the car into position and all that. So you just make sure, and that's why they were always asking him, the driver, we kept hearing, what does it say for your fuel? And they were going to be very, very conservative in that first stint. And then you start to build your strategy once you get a little bit better handle on it. And, of course, it changes, right? As the day gets warmer and everything, fuel consumption is going to change a little bit. And then as things cool, fuel consumption is going to probably get a little bit worse because the engine starts to make a little bit more power and the like. So, but there we go. That is the margin. 2nd to 3rd in GP1 right now. Now on board, not close enough, and that BMW playing that to absolute perfection right there, not giving from the right side of that BMW to the wall enough room for a Corvette, but just having shifted over to the left enough to dissuade the Corvette from trying a big lunge down to the inside. And you can see that Bimmer got through that bus stop really, really well for Ginger Racing. And this is where that Corvette really starts to find its pace. Is it going to be able to be close enough to try something? As whoop, here comes one of our GTO cars. Look at that move. Beautiful stuff. Got them both around the outside and won. And that actually has maybe helped the vet here because now he's going to use those brakes you were talking about, JT. But the 46 Ginger Racing BMW saying, I'm going to pinch you a little bit here.
Yeah.
And now here we're going to see this is going to be fascinating. Watch, is the BMW going to protect it all going in? No, not really. And now roll into the throttle. I think this is an opportunity for the Corvette here. He's a bit closer than he was last time. There's nobody behind him to worry about defending, so it's just all front focused here. And again, we've got a long time to go yet in this race, but there's that defense mode again. Whoa, close. And that to me was a little too close for comfort with this much time to go in a race.
Yeah.
And there you heard it, just over a quarter of a tank.
Man.
Boy, he's got him here, though. He got through the chicane incredibly well. And
I want to see him start doing some big lifts.
Yeah, some lift and coast stuff.
Yeah, make the pass here and then let up.
Yep.
So that's going to be another position here. They've gone around the Ginger Racing car. So that moves them up into second place in class behind the 62 of Open Throttle. Now keep in mind, Greg, we're also going to have driver changes coming in about another, call it hour, about an hour.
Yep. Yep. That can change the whole dynamic.
It can. It was one of my favorite parts, Greg, of the LMPC class was the strategy they decided to play in the ALMS was, are you going to have your pros start the car and give the car over to your amateur driver in as good a position as it can be? Or are you going to start the AM and understand that they're going to lose a bunch of time to all these pros, and then you as the pro get to pick through the AMs at the end of the race?
Yes.
And they always played that strategy out reasonably well, and I think it made for pretty exciting racing. Crashes aside, obviously.
Yes.
It was pretty fun. I think that was my favorite qualifying to watch as well, was all the young guns trying to wheel the LMPC cars around in that qualifying session. It's always really exciting.
It was, and I agree with you completely. Having called so many of those races, when you were looking at the driver lineup, with 2 hours to go, and 80% of the LMPC field had the young people in it, and then a couple of cars had super fast veterans,
right,
and pros, and just watching them maul the rest of the field. It was so entertaining, and I'll tell you what a training ground.
Oh yeah,
just phenomenal. And Pato O'Ward, who raced in that category in the last year of its existence, and everybody would always comment when I was talking about what Pato was doing, and they said, "Yeah, but it's such a depleted field." And he said, "Well, it is in terms of numbers. But, you may not have, a couple of the top cars at every event.
Right.
But at every event, you had a few of the top cars. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it was never like it was just a bunch of wankers that he was out there against. It was never like that, And he said, and it still boggles my mind that one ALMS never made more of this. But to my knowledge, I don't know that he's ever done it before, but in every race of that year, Pato O'Ward had fast lap. Every race. And I didn't
realize that.
Yeah, I said, why aren't you promoting this? This is something really impressive. And they were all about poles, fast laps. And I'm like, well, fast lap shows me who's fast during a race.
Right.
And then look at what Pato has gone on to do.
No, incredible.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of skill to be put in a position to be hosed by Zach Brown repeatedly. So,
That's very true. That's very true. And Pato, when he first popped into ALMS, man, he was at the same time one of the best and one of the worst interviews ever. Because he loved to talk. And, you'd interview him, and he was either just out of the car, in the pits doing a stop, or just out of the car after a race. And you'd ask him a question, and, you'd literally go, Pato, you got to wrap this up, or we're going to just go off the air with you, But, man, let's put it this way, he could drive as fast as he talked.
Right. Man, what a cool concept, too. I miss that. I don't think LMP3 is delivering the same level of excitement, to be honest.
Not even close. Not even close. Here's our Boss 302.
Yep. That car caught up in a little bit of an incident earlier in the race.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to keep it clean the rest of the day here.
Well,
the mighty 5-liter.
Yeah, I'm not seeing damage on it, so
no.
Hopefully they just took evasive and had their spin.
Right. Still sitting on pit lane. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to know. JT and I were talking about, and we kind of got stymied. We were talking about the motor in the Camaro that's out there. Neither of us really knew what the motor was in that Low Country Motorsports car.
Oh, it's a Chevy V8.
It's the LS1 or the LS variant of some sort. Yeah.
I don't think it's an SB2 or anything crazy.
Yeah. No, we were talking about it has had a quietly very effective run.
Yep. Nice and steady.
Yep.
Just what you need to be for a big race like this.
Absolutely.
The irony of the NASCAR-based chassis being the car that's running the most steady race in GTO.
Exactly. Exactly.
So JT Tammy will be making his departure. JT Tammy is actually curing cancer on the side. So he's got a lab thing he has to go to help cure cancer.
Well, that's a moderately decent excuse.
Yep. Not sure what else would be important enough to skip a 14-hour race at Daytona for the Paul Revere 14-hour.
Yeah.
And so, I assume he must be curing cancer.
If not, we'll give him a stern talking to.
Indeed. I'll give a little rundown here now that we're into the starting the third hour here. GP1, you got the 62 of open throttle racing a ways ahead, 19 seconds ahead of the 112 of TC Klein. So that TC Klein car has diced through the field and back up into second position ahead of the 46 of Ginger Racing, the E46 BMW. But as we saw earlier, that number 112 is going to be running into this problem a lot today where they cannot get the fuel economy out of that car. So that's going to put them behind the 8 ball here. They're going to have to work really hard on the strategy and make the perfect calls all day to stay in contention here. 46 of Ginger Racing, we talked about them. Number 5 of All-Star Racing. Now, they're 11 seconds back of open throttle here, but how much longer did they go, Greg, than the rest of the field? Like at least 10 minutes, if not 15.
Yeah. It was substantial.
So they have the fuel advantage. So even though their pace is not quite where the rest of the class is, that car we anticipate to potentially save a stop over the course of 14 hours, maybe even 2, in which case, being 11 seconds back in 2 hours is not the end of the world.
No.
They'll get all that back.
And BRD matched stops. Do you remember?
Yeah, BRD doing the same type of deal here. So they're a little bit further. They're 11 seconds behind All-Star. But the two of those cars effectively racing each other.
Yes.
PC Racing down in 6th position. That's another E46 BMW. 315 of Split 5 in their 2 series. Then the 927 of Fast Track Racing. Those two cars.
Hey, let me jump in here. A lot of smoke from the back of that Ford Mustang, the 302.
Ooh, okay.
From Riser. Now, it was coming through the chicane, so it could have been a curb hop and some body rub, but it didn't look it. It looked like it was a different kind of smoke. So, yeah, there it is. You can see it.
Okay. They're staying low on the banking here, too, real low.
I think you recognize
they're going to come into the
wrong.
Pit lane here. So that's no good for Riser Harness Ford. Currently in 11th, not having a great day.
No.
But every day is a good day if you're at the racetrack. So there you go. 927 of Fast Track Racing. I think part of the Dream Machine experience. Spoken with those folks before. I think bringing a little bit more powerful car here to Daytona. Usually they're running the GR86s.
Okay.
Those cars, I think, be at a substantial disadvantage at this track. So happy to see them here. 64 of Open Throttle Racing. That's a V8 BMW E90 M3 in 9th position. In 10th is the 75 VOA Racing, other 2 series. The 302 of Riser Harness Ford. The 29 of Screaming Goat Racing. 12 laps it's cost them to get that car back out and running. And unfortunately, even in a 14-hour race, you got to be making up 2 minutes every hour. And that's a lot of pace. That Screaming Goat car does have a lot of pace, but if they're able to make up 2 minutes every hour, that's a lot of time to make up. So,
it's huge. Huge to make
here's
up.
to hoping, and then you can get lucky on some yellows as well. But, man, that's going to be an uphill battle for sure. Got the number 25 of Singler Racing is in the pit lane making their planned pit stop. Ooh, yeah, that Mustang is leaving a trail of fluid on the pit lane. So that's as they go back to the paddock. Got to be careful out there. Might be a little bit of fluid going down elsewhere as well.
Yeah, that's that pit entry. They need to really inspect that because if he's leaving fluid and you're coming in there in a hurry.
Right. GTO, you get the 120 of AE Victory. They are 33 seconds ahead last time by, but there's a vagary there with the pit lane. Singler's pit stall is after the pit timing loop, so that gap is not quite accurate, but Singler did just pit, which is going to put them a little bit further behind AE Victory than the timing would let you know. But the AE Victory Supra currently in the lead, followed by the 25 of Singler. Then the 4 of Kingpin Racing, another Supra, 14 seconds behind Singler-ish. And then the number 9 of Almonte Motorsports, a lap down. That's the Porsche 911 Cup car we talked about earlier. I think they missed a trick with the yellow flag situation.
Yes.
You've then got Low Country, the 843. They're on the same lap, I believe. Let's see. No, they are a full lap behind Almonte, but steady in 5th place. Number 117 of Aftermath Motorsports, they're on, let's call it 2 laps further behind Low Country. Similar situation there. They're 5 laps off the overall lead in GTO. So, again, a situation where even in the course of a 14-hour race, you got to get lucky several times to bring it back together. But you've got pit lane penalties, you've got contact penalties, you've got all sorts of opportunities for that change to happen. So just keep the car on the island here and keep going. 67 of Open Throttle Racing in 8th position. They're the last car running 12 laps down. The 678 of Stack Racing with Rapscallion has not returned to the pit lane, and nor has the 119 of AE Victory. So 2 strong runners this season for the championship.
No kidding.
Having a tough day here. And GP2, you've got Heraflight. They're about 2 laps ahead of the Skip Barber Racing School GR86. Heraflight, of course, in the first of the new Generation 2 series with the 4-cylinder engine. Hold it down, I think, at 2:14 last time by. So that's a little rundown, of course. You got the 40-48 competition in P01 as well, running around by themselves. I think potentially a contender, Greg, for the overall today, just given the fuel mileage they've been able to squeeze out of that car. Pretty efficient on the banking. Small engine, I think it's going to put them right where they need to be.
Yeah, top 5 overall right now, and you continue to exploit, again, what that car, what its strong suit is. And, it's not going to be that fast on the banking, but it's going to be really quick in the infield.
Yep.
And just stay clean. Avoid curbs. Just be smart here.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. All you have to do is drive the car fast and also not burn any fuel.
Exactly.
That's it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
You know what? Put me in. I got it. I got to figure it out.
You got to figure it out, man.
Mike Gorman, find me a seat. Let's make it happen.
Hey, and I also wanted to just perfect timing, Dustin, the chicane. I really think we need to start a groundswell movement to get the folks at Daytona International Speedway to that section in between the backstretch and the chicane, where you would just go straight there, in that area in the center that's kind of covered by the tower, and all the lighter pavement around the outside of the track. They need to paint it with that high abrasive green paint. So we make it look like the bus stop again.
We need to make Daytona Le Castellet again.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. My 2 missions have been this, since they redid it, and turn 2 at Mosport.
Yep.
That whole outside area, I've told Ron Fellows numerous times, get that high abrasive green paint. I know it's expensive, but do it.
Right.
Right now, turn 2 at Mosport looks like nothing because it's like you're driving through a parking lot with that paving. And it still is, but in its, before they added all that pavement out there, it was, I talked to Tommy Kendall once told me, he said that's one of the most fear-inducing spots you're ever going to run through. And it just doesn't look it visually anymore.
No, not at all.
Because you don't have the color defining the track. So anyway, just a thought.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have this other thought, Greg, that I've been workshopping for a couple years.
Okay.
You've got Lake Lloyd out there, right?
Yeah.
You're familiar with Lake Lloyd?
I am.
About it? Yeah.
I am.
Anyway, Lake Lloyd, of course, for those who don't know, is the big lake that's in the middle of Daytona International Speedway. How is it that they haven't monetized that yet? Like, my theory is, and you'd have to find a way to police it, and safety would be a little bit of a concern, but maybe you'd implement some rules. How have they not sold like 50 houseboat permits for like $2 million a year? And I think you'd sell all of them. I think all of the houseboat permits would get bought. you'd have a dock, like maybe make the rule like, hey, during the race you have to be docked. Has to be docked after 8 p.m. That way you don't have people like trying to race each other and hitting stuff, and like it becomes a whole problem. But have like pontoon boats out there and sell permits for it.
So you're saying, it's real water, so have a real marina, unlike Miami.
Unlike Miami, yeah, correct. At Miami Gardens, the Miami Gardens Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Presented by Hard Rock Sports Bet or whatever.
Yeah. Well, there was a time when they used to have like jet ski racing in it.
Ooh, okay.
And everything, and I'd love to see, look how long that thing is. I'd love to see rowing competitions.
It's longer than a lot of skyscrapers are tall.
Absolutely. Oh, I like that. I caught that. I'm with you. I mean, I think you can do so much of that and have so much fun.
But you have to have rules. Like, you can't have yachts. There's no yachts. They have to be houseboats.
Yeah,
pontoons. On pontoons. Yeah.
Yep,
I don't want yachts at Daytona. Like,
no
shot. But if you want a 4-story houseboat out there, and, like, I think there's a lot of guys that, like, drivers would buy them. It'd be like, hell yeah. I mean, $2 million is probably steep. But that would be for the whole year, obviously.
Sure.
I think, and that would be cool, right? Especially a lot of those guys, Southeastern guys, and you got boats and this and that, and you could stock it. Like, let's stock Lake Lloyd with some bass.
Well,
and you go out there and go fishing.
Yeah, and you come to Daytona, and instead of bringing your big RV,
right,
you just stay in your houseboat.
See, we're solving the world's problems here.
Exactly.
Except Daytona, get in touch.
We can't seem to solve the problem of the fuel consumption for our
not at all. On the 112, it's such a good-looking car. Look at it. Look at it on this shot.
Yeah.
What a machine. If you looked at it quickly enough, you would think that was the GT3 car. Like, it's got the right wing on it now. The front end looks pretty aggressive. Like, man, that
Velocity yellow. Yeah.
Good-looking car. Did you see Patrick Wilmot's going to try to set a lap record in a ZR1X?
No.
So I think he's going to, I think it's Grid Life. He's got a tire sponsor that's going to put some just like Ultra Trick super sticky tire on it. And Patrick Wilmot's going to try to break the lap record somewhere with the ZR1X.
Well,
that'll be cool.
That's a car capable, that's for sure.
Is it Patrick Wilmot or is it Tom O'Gorman? It's one of the two of them. Are Patrick Wilmot and Tom O'Gorman basically the same guy?
Ooh, now there's a question. There's a question to ponder.
Corvette lap record. That's not specific enough. Grid Life. Gotta type that in. I feel like I just saw this press release.
Oh, okay.
Yesterday.
While you're searching that, just the 62 open throttle racing entry is sitting in the overall run order in the 7th spot. So they're having an awfully good run in that BMW 235 IR. As is the 46 Ginger Racing.
Yep.
BMW M3. The All-Star Racing number 5 BMW M3. That's still pretty much a very popular car in the GP1 category. That's for sure. Yeah, it does.
It is going to be Tom O'Gorman.
Oh, all
in
right.
the C8 ZR1 at Grid Life Midwest at Gingerman.
Nice.
He's going to try to set the lap record at Gingerman with a ZR1. That'll be cool.
Yeah. So he's got to be. Yeah, that's got to be a time attack run, I would think.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I don't know what track mod means, but
yep, that's time attack.
Yeah, that's time attack. Okay, there you go.
Yep.
If we look towards turn 2, there's potential for a car running slowly here. I'm just trying to track that slow car down. Anyway. Oh, yeah, that's the AOA car, the 75, I believe.
Oh, boy.
So AOA having a tough go of things today.
Boy, they sure are.
That 55 car is still sitting on pit lane.
They got a lot of entries. I don't know whether that's a car problem. Maybe it's, they did a driver change and it's, the least experienced driver out there. He's just really taking his time building speed.
Right. Could be as well.
He's doing the right thing, staying way low everywhere.
Well, that was talked about in the drivers' meeting extensively. That the default line on the banking is low. And that wasn't just for slow cars, but indeed everybody should do well to stay on the low side and only attempt to pass on the high side, especially if you're passing, lap traffic, etc.
Yep.
The 62 comes in from GP1. That's the open throttle racing 2 series.
Leader.
And so does the 46. So the 46 of Ginger Racing is also going to take a fuel stop here. So both cars coming at the same time, roughly, of course. There's a little bit of a gap there, about a few seconds. So another strategy. Oh, go ahead, Greg.
I was just going to say, one of the things that I know was in the rule book, and he's coming into the pit, so they recognize some sort of an issue there, so that's good to know. There's your Ginger Racing machine.
Yep. So the Ginger Racing car, if you'll notice, Greg, is fueling on the correct side of the car versus the 62, which is on the wrong side of the car. So when you're trying to transfer fuel bottles across, that'll lose you some time.
You bet. Like I said, those things are heavy when they're full, and you're trying to lug it around the back of the car, then back around, grab another one, lug. So our 75 is in, and there's no real response from the pits.
Yep. The BRD Motorsports 616 is also in.
Okay. And I see one of the drivers for the 75 was sitting there and is now starting to suit up. You can see him there.
So the 62 is back out. The 46 they're doing something under the hood with.
It looked like they were just checking oil.
Okay.
Yeah. Oil or tranny.
Remember, the 112 of TC Klein has already stopped. So they're going to move up the order here a little bit as Open Throttle and Ginger keep working on their car and eventually get back out. So the 46 is about to be sent.
What are they looking at there? Fuel cell issue?
Maybe doing yeah. They've got some extra hose in there to carry a little bit more fuel. They're going to send it here. So that's the 46 back out. They're going to have a little bit of a gap again to catch the 62.
Boy, that's a sad sight for AOA, isn't it?
It is. Got both cars.
Such great competitors.
Yep. PC Racing 43 has also come down pit lane for some fuel. So we're into the fuel window now for the GP1 teams. The 120 also coming down to pit lane, so that's the leader.
Oh, okay.
Low Country is just leaving pit lane, so they'll gain a lap back here.
There is your leader, hitting the marks perfectly. Driver change.
Yep. And you got to do a driver change here, otherwise you're going to have to run a short stint to get the driver out. It's only 40 minutes until that 3-hour window closes. So I imagine on this round of pit stops, you should be changing the driver out.
Yeah, I would think. Who is the drivers in this car?
That is a great question. Let me see if I can find it on their Facebook.
Sally Mott, Carter, Abate.
Let's see. AE Victory. Because they've got 2 cars worth, and I think both have 4 drivers.
All right. That was a very efficient stop.
It is. Well practiced up, that team.
Phew, no kidding.
119 this weekend. That's Barber. Let's see. Why is it showing me a post from the 23rd? What a waste. Oh, maybe it was on a story on a different thing. Now, for those who are wondering, I do have the I do have the survey. The problem is the survey is write protected, and I can't make a copy of it to then process it into a digestible document to actually read on a broadcast. That's a problem that RJ and I are actively working on.
Oh, okay.
Like, I have all the data, but it's because it's in a survey response form, you have to look for each piece of data you're looking for individually as opposed to having them all nested together.
Always something, huh?
Always something. But it's there.
So that's the number 4 from Kingpin, which was second at the time of the 120 stop.
Ah, okay.
Gotcha.
So they're servicing the chill-out system in the trunk there on the 46. I think AE Victory had posted their driver lineup per car as a story. Oh, here it is. Now it's just all of them together. I don't know what the split is.
I tell you what, Almonte has done a really, really nice job. They're 4th overall. And remember, they've been fighting back from that bin where they lost a lap.
Right.
And right now, they're on the same lap, technically. But they're going to have to pit because they have not yet. The 120, the 4, and as the 25 is Singler, they pitted, right?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
They pitted early relative to the 120.
So, the minute that the number 9 stops, they'll go down that lap again. But and nobody wants a caution, right? Well, they do. The number 9 certainly does. But, I'm just saying we don't want a caution here. But the Almonte team has done a fabulous job of getting themselves in position, in case there is a caution, to be able to get that back onto the back of the lead lap. They've done a nice job. Now it's just stay there. Love the graphics on this car. Team Fast Track Racing, that's the M2 CSR. Sponsored by Sewell and Motul. They had a 3rd in class last year here. So,
I believe part of the program, the Dream Machine program, trying to get people up and through kind of the GT ranks, start them low, and then end up finishing off with a GT4 program.
Nice.
Based out of Eagles Canyon.
They sure are. There's your Morehouse Mustang continuing to run really quick laps. Or the Wheelhouse Motorsports Mustang. Just still buried down the order because of that long stop. They're 8 laps behind right now. So this has essentially turned into a big test for them. So once again, the number 5 of All-Star Racing is cycled to the top in GP1. Open throttle is still second in the 62. Split 5 is third in the 315. PC Klein is fourth in the 112. That's the Corvette. And then the 46 is Ginger Racing. And then the Team 48 competition, it's the Beko NPO1. That's the little prototype car out there. You can see that car is really quick in the infield. Here's your split 5 into the pits from fourth. Pretty strict rules on how you go about these refueling stops and what you can and cannot do when the car is being refueled. You know, it's interesting. You can wipe down the windshield. You know, you could with spray and rag.
Right.
But you have tear-offs on the windshield. You cannot do that while you're refueling. And then, of course, there's the staging of the bottles and how you can do that. All of that type of stuff. And you notice, you know, they said you cannot stage any of the fuel bottles on the pit wall. And so, you know, the smart teams, they've got a table that's pit wall height and it's jammed right up against that pit wall.
Yep.
And that's where they just lay out those bottles.
Well, it's similar rules to Le Mans, where you can do effectively driver service
Yes.
during the fuel, but you can't do any mechanical work to the car.
Exactly. But unlike Le Mans, if you can get it done quicker than the air competition, that's okay.
I'm waiting for WRL to have a virtual energy tank, so that the actual amount of fuel going into the car has very little actual bearing on what the energy level remaining is, which is insanity to me. But
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's worth noting, All-Star has cycled back to the front of GP1.
Yeah.
Now that everybody has begun the pit stops. They've still got a little ways to go because they were able to run. Let's see what the actual lap number was. Yeah, their first stop was on lap 33. And we're currently on lap 65. Now, there was some yellow in there. So, we've got a little bit of time left, I think.
Yeah.
If you figure your pit stop's going to cost you about a minute, maybe 2 minutes, I really need to keep track. Next time somebody comes down pit road, I need to keep track and see how long. It's probably closer to 2 minutes. But I think they're going to come out right in the middle of the Ginger PC Racing BRD sort of region, if you will.
Okay.
Which will put them right back into the thick of the race for the lead in GP1. So it would seem that their pace is consistent enough that if they continue to do this sort of pace, wow, as the Ginger Racing car runs really wide here at the International Horseshoe. So if they continue running with this kind of pace and fuel economy, I think the number 5 is slowly going to work themselves into becoming the favorite.
I think so. Yeah, and, you know, in looking at their best laps, just as a reference point, you know, they got a 2:09.1, and the fastest laps have been mid-2:08s. So, you know, they're not far off in outright pace when they need just, you know, some speed. But just the way they're managing things here, yeah, I think they could be looking really good.
Yeah, I think so too. Again, we got 14 hours yet to go. So they have to run clean. They have to not have any bad luck. They have to make sure that they stay on the island, as it were. But
yes,
right now it's looking pretty darn good, I think. The 365 is in the pit lane from the lead of GP2. They're going to fuel up here, of course. That race, you know, the way the pace looks right now, the way the strategy call is, the 365, you know, it's their race to lose at this point.
Here's a look at the 117 Aftermath Motorsports entry. It's 12th overall at the time of the pit stop. And you can see, you know, just how tricky it is to refuel these Porsches that don't have these, you know, pro racing couplings and all of that.
Very sorry, I'm just coordinating breakfast sandwich deliveries.
Oh, well, that's critical.
Indeed.
I understand.
Well, I mean, it's not for me. It's for the hardworking camera folks, as it were. If you'll notice right now, there isn't a moving camera. That's because the person in charge of the moving camera is eating a sandwich.
Well,
he's earned it.
Well deserved. There's a moving camera.
Yep. That's Chris down there in the pit lane, giving us some sweet pit shots. Of course, just as I say that, the service starts to drop out. You love to see it.
Yeah, well.
You see up the clouds.
Chris
clouds
is doing
are coming.
a nice job. Yeah.
Chris is doing great. Nate's doing great on the camera. The moving camera continues to look better and better each time we go back to it, so I'm very pleased.
It does, yeah. And it's so nice to have it.
Incredible.
So, you know, you start to see a battle and you can just kind of follow it from every perspective. There we go.
It's something I had wished on for the entirety of the time that Drivers on Live has been a going concern. I have pitched that we should have, especially at Daytona, a rooftop camera. And while
absolutely
the rooftop is really far away here, and that's, you know, for the lens and camera setups that are available to us, it's a little bit too far. Doing it from the grandstands about halfway down has worked out exactly as I had hoped.
Yeah, I think it's been fabulous.
I think there's opportunity at some other tracks as well for that to work pretty well. But I like the drone, too. So, you know, comments in the chat. We haven't talked about the YouTube chat a whole lot today.
No,
we'll start to flip back through there. Comments in the chat. Do you like the drone or the manned camera better? Drone or manned camera? Keeping in mind that the drone, I think, is going to be a lot cooler when we get to Road Atlanta because there's fewer restrictions on where the drone can be flown.
Right. Well, I mean, if it's either or, the drone.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because of the positioning you can do with it. You know?
Okay, All-Star number 5 is in.
All right.
So they've pulled into the pit lane here.
They're going to take some fuel.
And you said their first stop was lap 33?
33, yep.
So they went 2 laps longer, which makes sense because...
Well, they also had some yellow time in there because they stopped under yellow. So they had a couple yellow flag laps, and then also on the first stint they had those parade laps.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say. So
it's kind of 33 to 35 seconds sort of, or 33 to 35 lap kind of window. I think it's going to pay dividends for them. I think I
think so too.
Exactly where they need to be. In the chat, can I get a shout out for Gino Manley driving for Open Throttle? He is my idol from Duval County. You know what, Gino Manley, and I'll tell anybody this about Gino Manley, and I've even told Gino Manley. Gino Manley is my idol because he has, by my estimation, the best schedule of anybody to have ever worked in the car business ever. Like, ever. It's incredible how much time he gets to take off. I've never seen anything like it, genuinely. Of course, recently promoted to general manager of Tom Busch Mazda up the road here in Jacksonville. So, general manager, Gino Manley, GM, as they were. Getting to drive that sweet open throttle GTO BMW, the V8. He was one of the first drivers, I think, to drive the green V8 BMWs back when those were GTO cars. Those were GTO cars at one point, the 64, Greg.
Oh, okay,
They tried those on a little bit and then decided that if they detuned them, they could get them to run a little bit more reliably, a little bit, more consistent pace in GP1.
Mm-hmm.
And, other teams had also ran that V8 car. Harrison Motorsports, of course, those who've been longtime viewers will remember. They've had the V8 M3 as well. John the Panda 8127 drone. Yeah. Yep. As I said in the drivers' meeting yesterday, I was unable to convince the FAA to close the Daytona airport. So the drone was not an option here.
God, they're so selfish.
Turns out those kids at Embry-Riddle really need to get their hours in. So.
Yeah.
Of course, shout out to Brendan Kazmarek, the head honcho of Driver's Eye Live, an Embry-Riddle grad. Used to live over there in the dorms that you can see off in the distance. I heard lots of partying goes on at Embry-Riddle. Lots of partying, lots of women. Lots of having a good time. Going to football games, doing keg stands, all those things going on at Embry-Riddle was my understanding.
While you're flying.
While you're flying, exactly.
That's the cool part. Yeah, it's a school. It's such a great rep.
Yep. Look, it's no Arizona State, but,
Got it.
I imagine that if you're going to Embry-Riddle, you have a lot clearer idea of what it is that you want to be doing as a career than your average Arizona State student does.
I would think you're spot on with that. It's kind of interesting. Paul Page's son went to Embry-Riddle.
Uh-huh.
And he ended up as an engineer, I think, for Rahal in IndyCar.
Ah, okay.
So it's studying aerodynamics.
Yep. Well, there's lots of those guys, aerospace engineer types that end up filtering through racing.
Yep.
Dr. Scott Michaels, who occasionally joins us for WRL broadcasts. I believe potentially about to become a professor in Indiana.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But he's an aerodynamics guy as well.
Yeah.
Worked for Penske for a time.
Some dude named Adrian Newey.
Yep. Don't know who that is, but yep.
Yeah.
Definitely. It was the first time I came to Daytona in person, and I got to watch Adrian Newey and goodness, the name escapes me. The CEO of Ford. My goodness. I'm going to feel really dumb when I don't remember the name later.
Oh,
anyway, they were sharing the car, a GT40 here for the HSR 24.
How cool.
And, he was not particularly interested in me trying to hold my camera lower and lower on the car to see what it looked like underneath. Wasn't a big fan of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Of a GT40?
And a GT40, yeah. Which he had also driven, I had seen before at like the Goodwood Revival.
Okay.
He drives it there too. But the speculation is that Adrian Newey's GT40 is not a stock GT40 under.
I would,
if you look at the bottom of the car.
Well, if he was that concerned about you,
he wasn't thrilled.
Taking a peek at it, he's obviously done something.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny. While I respect just the mental bandwidth and capacity of the aerospace engineers and the aerodynamicists, to understand boundary layer and just all that. I also see them a bit in the Dick Dastardly twisting of the mustache, because to me, the more aero plays a role in a car's design, the worse the racing becomes.
Sure.
And so I've always had that, in equal measures, great respect and great frustration with aerodynamicists and aerodynamics.
Indeed. Tough
Go for Mr. Newey this season so far.
A little bit. Perhaps an inauspicious final phase of his career, let's say.
Yes. Well, and I think what it comes down to, and everybody that I've ever, heard talk about Adrian for whatever team, is that he is absolutely unflinching in, this is how I'm going to design the car. You make your components fit. And because he wants, he is making it as sleek and aerodynamic and efficient as possible. And no, I'm not going to widen this out for you because, so I think that's where the issue is probably this year, is that, Honda's trying to figure out how to install that engine in a way that allows the engine to function.
Correct.
And stay within Newey's aerodynamic restrictions. And it's tough. And other teams have talked about it. It took 2 years for us to figure out how to get that package to work the way it needs to work inside his design. But when they got it right, well, look at Red Bull.
So the Scott Michaels would talk about when he worked for Penske on their NASCAR program back when they had, development. He also said that anything aerodynamics wanted to do happened upstream of everybody else. So if they decided that, they had to make XYZ change and that impacted the radiator or it impacted, the suspension mounting point for whatever, or, whatever it might have been, that it was on everybody else to conform to what Aero wanted to do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, a little bit of a misstep there by the Almonte team.
Yeah, no fun.
No fun.
We're going to put that car back down, send it out.
Yeah, they had initially put the right front tire on the left rear.
Yeah, we got full course yellow here.
Full course caution.
Let's see here. Unfortunately, there's a whole phase of the track that I just cannot see. There's a car stopped at NASCAR 3. It's down on the apron, which is nice.
Oh, it's the Skip Barber car.
Oh, it's the 86. So they'll have to recover that. I did say to the security marshal over here, who came over and gave me the "what the hell do you think you're doing" in the morning speech as I was placing this camera. And I asked him as he walked away, we'd made our friendlies, whatever. And I said, "Oh, and by the way, I'm going to stand down here on the apron too and take pictures. Is that cool?" And he whipped around really quickly, and I don't think realized that I was joking.
Oh,
no, you got to be behind the wall. I'm like, no, I'm not actually going to do that. No.
Yes.
But it would have been about right there that I would have wanted to stand. So glad I didn't, because I'd have been run down by a Toyota.
Yeah, you would have.
Speaking of run down at Daytona, what do you think Chip Ganassi's up to right now? What do you think he's doing?
The chipster?
The chipster? Not a big dog guy, as it turns out.
Not a big dog. That's good.
Of course, we've got some folks doing the Daytona International Speedway Tour. Currently walking through the fan zone over towards the big building there with the podium.
And our leader is in, the 120 coming
in. The number 120. So I think everybody's going to dive for the pit lane here. Now you can take your yellow flag pit stop. The trouble is, Greg, one would think that it's good to stop under yellow, which generally it is, but it's taking so long for the field to form up behind the pace car that it takes a couple laps before you're genuinely, getting the advantage of the cheap pit stop, because the pace on track until everybody catches the back of the pace car is still pretty high. 25 of Singler is going to come down the pit lane here.
Yeah, and that 120 stop, it was half a bottle.
Right.
That went in. I mean, it's like jump in, top off. Every time you do that, for the folks who might not,
Did this, hold on a second.
Yeah, what?
I think we're going to have to wait for, the 120 is behind the Almonte car on track. So I wonder if Almonte figured it out, and or the 120 tried to short fill it so they wouldn't give the 9 that lap back.
Maybe, but
we're gonna have to wait and see on the timing here. I want to make sure that I'm not wrong about this. But I think
and that number 9 stop was really long
because
of that problem with the wrong tire on the wrong side of the car.
Yeah.
So if they are still on the lead lap at this stage, I'd be stunned. But hey, it's possible.
Right.
It depends
no, they've lost a couple more. They've lost more laps even.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay. All right.
But I get your point. TC Klein in, and of course they're going to stop. Oh, look at that.
Oh, they got a 2-lap penalty for contact. Oh, okay.
Who did?
So it looks like, according to the screen on Red Mist, the 9 has been assessed as the at-fault party in the 119's collision that caused it to have to stop, which has caused a 2-lap penalty for the number 9.
Oh, boy. Well,
so that's taken them well out of contention now.
Yeah. And I want to point out, and this is experience and resource, look at the rig that TC Klein has for the fuel bottles.
Oh, yeah.
You fuel on the correct side of the car,
right?
And you've got that elevated thing, so it's slide it on my shoulder into the car.
Yep.
That's impressive. That's impressive.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
It's cool stuff. And TC Klein Corvette, very thankful for the yellow flag here.
Yep. And did you see the guy who was taking the refueling bottles? As I'm sure the driver was looking over at him, going, "Come on, come on, come on!" And he was just standing there going, "Just chill."
Right.
And the double hands going, "Just chill. It's going great, pal."
Yeah, we're under yellow here, and they're going to be at the tail end of the field regardless.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they beat the pace car.
And the 25 also returning. They're going to beat the pace car as well. But they'll have both of these cars have a long ways to go to catch the back of the field here. More pit takers coming in.
The Kingpin Racing entry leading them in.
Yeah.
They were third. That's a great looking graphic package on that car too.
And the purple. 46 as well. Of Ginger Racing, the BRD car, they're going to come in.
Yeah, it's BRD. Is this their stop? I mean,
I feel like this is off.
Because they, remember, they hung in there for a long time as well in that first stint.
So their first pit stop was lap 30.
Oh, okay.
And then they stopped again on 60, and we're currently servicing lap 73.
Okay.
So there'll be a short fill here, but that'll give them that strategy advantage.
Ooh.
And they're not losing any... Oh, yeah.
He almost lost that bottle.
The 43 of PC Racing also stopping here. It is a really cheap pit stop now because all they're doing is dropping themselves in the order behind the pace car now that everybody had formed up. Taking a look at the podium here, of course.
Oh, there's an art shot, huh?
Got a little reflection going on.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
The Low Country Motorsports Camaro also has stopped. They're heading back out.
I'm just super impressed with what they're doing out there.
Great job for the 843 here, for sure.
Yeah, really impressive. Using that, the strength of that car, the absolute perfection.
Is it missing the T? Excellent. Well, the 25 is going to come down pit lane again. So, indeed, they were trying to make sure they stayed ahead of the pace car here.
Yep.
So, I think they're going to finish fueling. And this is the move that the 9 should have done earlier.
Yes, exactly.
Do you recall, Greg, it was one of the first seasons of the WEC. It was probably the second season.
Yeah.
And they were at Zhuhai, and they were working on the Audi R18. It was either Zhuhai or Fuji. I think it was Zhuhai. And JT would know the story if he was here. And they were working on the car. I don't know if they were changing the turbo or something like that, but they were doing it on pit lane. And they would send the car out with no intake on it, no rear cover, nothing, every time the pace car came around to come by the pit wall again. So they'd finish working real quick, send the car back out, and it would rip around the track and then catch the back of the field and come back to the pit lane. And they replaced whatever component it is they were trying to change over the course of 3 or 4 of these, them having to send it back out so they didn't go a lap down. And then there was discussion afterwards about well, technically that car was running out of homologation because they had taken the intake off and therefore the engine was unrestricted. I don't think anything ever came to pass of that, but people were annoyed. So the GR86 Cup car has been returned to the pit lane. I think Singler has tried to be a little bit too clever here. I don't know if they're going to be able to catch the end of the train before we go green. And indeed, we are going to go green. The Singler car is only in the West Horseshoe.
Oh, boy.
The 9 is going to try to eat the Fast Track Racing M2 alive.
Oh, we got a problem with somebody stuck at pit in.
Ooh.
As well. So that we might be right back to caution here.
Yeah, you can't have the pit entry blocked like that.
No.
The number 9 now able to get around, and they got the 120 right on their rear bumper. The 120 is going to hound that car. That's split 5, the BMW M2. They're able to get that car back going. The 120 and the 9 battling like they're battling for position, even though they're nowhere close on the timesheets. Going into the kink and then through the West Horseshoe here.
Yeah, that's a great point. Here they are. And the 9 doing anything it can, even though it's another 2 laps due to that penalty, correct?
Right.
Yeah. But
so they're
still,
a ways back.
That doesn't mean you give up.
And the 4048 car is also there at the front. Let me just switch back to looking at the overall here, because I suspect that they are in a better position than I would think. They are 2 laps off the leader, supposedly, but in a position here where maybe, possibly, if they get around, they can only be a lap down, and then they need a lucky yellow, and they could get it back again. But as you can see on the backstretch here, that NPO1 does not have the legs on the oval. And they'll do really well to catch up here through the bus stop. Got the downforce working on that lightweight prototype. But, oh yeah, they catch in a huge way. And then just as soon as those two GTO cars hit the loud pedal and go back to the banking, you're going to see that NP01 move backwards in a hurry.
Yeah, it's a great study in, the differences. Is that somebody else smoking through the... Yeah, you can see it losing there. Here comes the 120 again, going for it, and the number 9 protecting it for everything it's worth. Staying up really high, though.
Right.
And wants that wider entry, and there's going to be a car that could be right, and the 120 goes by, and the 9 could not defend on it. I'm not sure why that 9 stayed so high if they were trying to stay on that lap.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
That 4048 car, and this is what I was talking about yesterday, Greg. If you're in traffic, it's tough. But that 4048 car has been able to hold on to the back of these two cars just in the way that it makes pace throughout the lap. So they don't have quite the ultimate speed.
Right.
But if everybody's just running in open air and taking their time and not racing each other, that car isn't that much slower. And the problem is they do need to make a pass at some point if they're going to want the overall.
Exactly. Yeah, their best time so far has been a 2:05.2. Low Country has gone a 2:03. And right now, it's the AE Victory and Singler racing cars that are the ones that would be the toughest, because we got a 2:01.2 for AE Victory, a 2-minute flat 0.8 for Singler as their best laps. I'm just doing this as a reference point. So that 2:05.2, it's going to be tough, and they really need some help, as you pointed out.
No, definitely going to need some help now. I see the vision. I do see the vision, but I think it went back to green a lot sooner than they would have hoped. But of course, if you're going to leave it out there with not a full tank of fuel, you're going to be on the back foot anyway. I think it's just unlucky, and they tried to maximize what ended up being a suboptimal situation here.
Yeah, exactly. And through all of that, the TC Klein Racing car now 6 overall, leading in GP1.
The last time this happened, Greg, I said this, and I'm going to say it again. That yellow really helped them. It really helped get them in the spot they needed to be in strategy-wise to stay ahead, because now they've got the pace to be out front. They're going to have to make a short stop because, their car doesn't have the same kind of range that the rest of the cars do. But if this keeps happening this way, they're going to keep being okay.
Yeah.
And indeed, they're almost a full lap ahead of the All-Star Racing number 5.
Well, and that's a great point, because the for them, having these erratic cautions, if you will, because of their erratic fuel consumption, it's working to their advantage, isn't it?
Yeah, it's working the way it ought to. If we could get that on board, I want to see what their fuel situation is right now so we can kind of keep track. Should mandate this. 83.
Quero agradecer demais a todo mundo que acompanhou aí com a gente. Mais essa emoção aqui no Vibra Sports Acelera GP. Tamo junto.